The following episode of TOFOP is rated MA. It may contain Batman references, time travel references, sexual references, lost trains of thought, and mild coarse language. TOFOP advises that the program is not suitable for anyone under the age of 15, or anyone who enjoys succinct, coherent conversation that might actually have a point. Minors must be accompanied by a parent, guardian, or priest. This is John Deek speaking.
Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Wil Anderson.
And we're not relaxed, are we?
No, I was very nervous, Charlie.
Yeah.
Nervous about the fact that we're about to attempt something that, look, I've done commercial radio in studios that are worth millions and millions of dollars. And often when people try to call into those shows, it fucks up.
Yeah.
And this is a podcast that owes the bank millions and millions of dollars. And we're going to try to attempt it via Skype in this pocket of no reception that I live in.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't even download an app on my phone in your office before because the bandwidth was so low.
right, you were trying to post something to Facebook,
Yeah.
the world's most popular website, and you couldn't do that from this office. So we are embarking on something, and it almost was made a lot worse, Charlie.
Yeah. About 15 minutes ago, Will's neighbour decided to do a bit of lawn work with the loudest leaf blower on the planet.
I mean, and the next door like, because they're the same size backyard as we are, like
Not a lot of space.
15 minutes of leaf blowing, and it was literally started at 11:45, and we were meant to be going at 12.
Yeah.
And it stopped at like 1 minute to 12.
But she teased us because she would
yeah.
she would idle, and we're like, oh, that's it. She's
Yeah.
done. She's done.
Yeah, so it was a lot of
It's just like, oh, no, she's not done.
It was like the end of a James Brown concert, doing the whole, I can't go on, I can't keep blowing. And then it would just blow hard.
That's the name of my autobiography. I can't keep blowing.
The Charlie Clausen story. How I brought down 10 successful TV shows. Charlie Clausen is the cooler.
Yeah, it's like that. It's the lose yourself song. If I had one opportunity, I've had 10. I've fucked them all up.
Right, so should we attempt this? So what we're going to try to do today, and I guess this is the point that we've got to make. Oh, so some people are going to be calling in via Skype. Now, that might mean that you might be able to see Charlie and I, but we only have one computer, and the way that this desk is arranged, we've kind of had to put the computer in
In the middle,
middle.
but it's not a wide enough lens to include both of us. So what the Skype callers will be seeing is Will's bookshelf.
Yeah, my bookshelf and Charlie's hand.
And then my hand.
And then I can just occasionally lean in creepily from the side.
So we will be, as the calls come in, we will lean in and say hello to the people so they can see we're actually here and it's not some like automation.
Right.
And then we'll
This
lean
is the
back.
Turing test.
Yeah, exactly.
In the 150th episode of the podcast, I've been laying that sort of anti-artificial intelligence theme through
perfect
the
cover.
show for so long, Westworld style.
Yeah.
And this is where the fucking hosts come to life and the
Yeah.
robots take over in the TOFOP 150th.
All right, so we're gonna try this. So our first caller is Sim from Tasmania. Patch him in, Mike Hal.
Oh,
Hey! Oh my God, it
God! I
worked.
can see Sam. Look at this. Hello, Sam. We've leaned in creepily.
Yep. We apologise for this this setup because we can't fit us both in. So we will lean in to say hello, but then when we start talking, we may lean back like this, and you just get a view of Will's bookshelf.
But we can still see you, Sim. That's the most important thing.
Cool. Sorry, you have to excuse where I am. I'm stuck in a meeting room because that's the quietest spot I've got, and there's a meeting next door, and the sound is terrible. But anyway,
Hang
see
on,
how
wait,
we go.
Wait, so you're at work right now?
I might be.
Does
Yeah,
your
okay.
boss know what you're doing with your time?
I'm on a important call.
Yeah,
Okay, it's good. Well, Sim looks a lot more professional than us. There's a whole bunch of sort of binder folders in the background and a proper sort of Madonna-style headset, like computer headset on there,
Yeah,
Sim. So
yeah, you look like Bobby Brown when the New Jack Swing thing
Yeah.
is taking off. You want to be able to dance and sing at the same time.
welcome to our 150th. And to be honest, I feel like it's going okay so far. Like,
Yeah, don't get cocky, kid.
did you have a question or a comment for us, mate?
I have a scenario question for you.
Oh, we love
brilliant.
it.
Good start.
Cracking the knuckles.
All right. So the only way you can get Russell Crowe to appear on TOFOP is to agree to go to one of his concerts. So you both front up to watch Rusty LaRock in full flight, except there's a freaky electrical storm. And bang, Wil and Rusty swap bodies, leaving Charlie in the mosh pit with a Wil who insists he's Russell Crowe, but you don't believe him. And Wil, you're in Rusty's body on stage. What do you do now?
I mean, this is, firstly, Sim, good scenario.
Yeah, great
That's
scenario.
a good, solid scenario to start the 150th with, I think. Well, firstly, I feel okay about it because I've heard Russell sing and I feel like I wouldn't be out of place. I can sort of like mumble my way. He sounded a bit like that leaf blower, to be honest, that was going a little earlier. That was mostly like most of his songs. So I think I'd be okay. But how would you...
I think I've got the raw end of the deal here because suddenly I have Russell Crowe, who is known for losing his temper.
Yep.
Suddenly in a situation which I'm sure that Russell Crowe wouldn't like because he's suddenly looking back at the stage and he's seeing what is not him getting the adoration that he wants. So I've got a hand grenade right next to me.
No, I think Russell Crowe would be really excited about this idea, I've got to be honest with you, because Russell Crowe can now do what Russell Crowe's always wanted to do. Have sex with Russell Crowe. So I imagine that Russell Crowe would be considering this the ultimate masturbation opportunity.
As long as there was no mirrors in the bedroom, because he would look in the mirror and see you and it would ruin the fantasy, right?
Well, maybe that'd be revenge for this podcast. He's been saving it up and he sees a perfect opportunity. Not only does he get to have sex with Russell Crowe, but he gets to have revenge on me for this podcast.
You're right. So can I ask him in this scenario, when the bodies are eventually reversed, will have... Well, they'll both have memories of what's occurred?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so Russell Crowe can literally make you suck his dick by sucking your dick.
Yeah.
And then you'll be left with a memory of that experience.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, he'll say, go, Wil, go. All right, good. Well done, Sam. Thank you for being our first call. We really appreciate it.
Oh,
right,
God,
good.
that was
Sim's gone.
That was
I think
rather
Michael
abrupt.
cut him off.
Yeah,
I don't think that was Sim. I think Sim.
We have no kill switch, although this isn't live, so we're okay.
Right, well, but we might get that delightful little, the noise it makes when you dump the call.
Skype noise, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Sim says, that was awesome. Thank you. Mate, if you're a real fan, you would have said that's awesome. So lose points.
That's close.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
8 out of 10.
Give us a review, though. Sim, I'll review you. 5 stars, iTunes.
Oh, now, here is someone called Reed from Melbourne. Patch him through, Mike Hal.
All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get Reed from Melbourne through. So how did you think it went so far?
Pretty good.
Hang on, here we go.
Wait a minute. I think we've just got into an ISIS network.
Yeah.
Judging by who's on the camera.
Yeah, something. Reed, can you hear us, mate?
Oh, we're here now. Hey, how you going, guys?
Good.
Oh, sorry, we're leaning in.
Hey, that's right. You can't see us, so we have to explain this every time to each caller.
It's my bookshelf. We couldn't both fit in the shot, so you mostly are looking at the bookshelf.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay,
right, here we go.
Close call.
So,
Yeah.
Reed, thank you very much for not only being part of this podcast, but you have been an important part of this podcast. Also, you've been a contributor to this podcast.
Yeah, in fact, this very week, I emailed or texted Reed a few days ago saying, can you come up with a bit of a Q&A Photoshop? And so what you've seen on Instagram is draft 2. The first thing he sent was pretty much all the same, but he had me shirtless in the background. And I just accepted it. I was like, okay, fair enough. I did the men's health thing. I've got to wear a bit of this. So I said, yeah, that's cool. Thanks, Reed. And he's like, I was joking, man. I wasn't gonna send that one out.
Now, where do we find you today, Reed? Because there is a sense, with your beard and your little headset there, that we might be finding you like in hiding somewhere. Where are you?
Right, no, I normally live in Melbourne, but it's Christmas time, so we thought we'd bring the grandson back to New Zealand. So I'm hanging out in Dunedin, down south.
Ah, Dunedin. Named after Edinburgh. Literally means Little Edinburgh.
Oh,
did you know
I
that?
had the Wikipedia page open, but you've covered it off. So
Hey, who the fuck do you think you're talking to when it comes to useless trivia? All right, let's not fuck around.
I didn't realise there was an 80s TV series about Dunedin that you would get this information
No, but
from.
I believe Top of the Lake was filmed in Dunedin. So there you go. Another bit of trivia for you.
parts of it, yeah. I think a lot of the main streets, they're named after streets in Edinburgh. They took a lot of the streets in Edinburgh and just overlaid it on Dunedin.
Do they have Coburn Street?
There may be a Coburn Street.
My first time in Edinburgh, my wife is Scottish, obviously, and so I got there the day before her, and so she said, "Oh, make sure there's a street with lots of shops you should go visit. I can't remember what it's called. Begins with a C." So I got a map, and Coburn is spelt Cockburn. So I was walking around to people saying, "Can you tell me where Cockburn Street is?"
Right, because that's actually how it's pronounced. All right. Reed, how can we help you today?
To be honest, I just wanted to stick my head in and say thanks for all the years of content. I mean, content, that sounds a bit wanky.
Yeah, we've been hitting our KPIs.
No, that's really good, man, because to be honest, we're looking to monetize this podcast in the future, and what you need to monetize things is content.
Yeah.
That's what we know. We are content providers.
But Reed, you have been an integral part of the show's growth. I mean, I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but Better with Batman came from a TOFOP episode, right?
Totally, yeah.
And that's become its totally. See? We're in your brain.
I've been here too long.
Well, I was saying to Will, like when I saw that you were one of the callers who won the lottery to get on this show, I'm like, Reed could literally call me up now. Like he doesn't have to do it via Skype. You have my details.
Right.
Plus you have photos of me shirtless, apparently.
Yes, yeah. It's a really nice thing to point out on a recorded medium that's permanent. Thanks.
It's okay. The government are monitoring all our communications these days, mate. All of it is on the public record. Well, we have appreciated very much having you part of it. Like, how did you first get involved in podcasts? What was it about podcasts that kind of, was what made you want to be involved in that world?
It was not the solitude, that's the wrong word, but being able to go out and not listen to music, but listen to a conversation. So I started off with, like a lot of people did with the Ricky Gervais podcasts, the Ricky Gervais show with Stephen Merchant. That was my in. And then from there, I thought, I'll try something different. But after they finished, so I moved on to Kevin Smith and Smodcast, listened to a lot of that, and then thought, well, I'm in Australia now, I should listen to something local. And then this popped up at just the right time. So I started there, and then...
Were you working in an office when you discovered podcasting?
I was, but the kind of work I do makes podcasting hard to listen to because I do a bit of coding. Right. And if you're typing words with other words in your head, you end up getting mixed up.
Because I discovered podcasting when I was doing some mindless office work where it was just literally data entry. And that was the only thing that got me through it, is I found Ricky Gervais and I found Smodcast, burnt through all of those. And then it was just like whatever I can get, whatever conversation is going to take me away from this like horrible 9-to-5 job. But then it became... I love the idea, that long-form conversation thing. That's what I think I like the most. I grew up in a big family, so I used to always hear like conversations happening all the time. I think it's something, probably more than music, this draws me in, is like really interesting long-form conversation.
I was just in Denver doing some shows, and the Denver Comedy Club, Comedy Works, has a downtown club and a club that's in the suburbs. Two really great clubs. And I'll go back in alternates. You do shows at sort of alternate venues. But the week I was there, Kevin Smith was in town doing his shows. And he was playing the Uptown Club and then like the Downtown Club. And so I was staying in the place that Kevin Smith was going to stay 2 days later.
Yeah, right.
And I was going to like write him a note and hide it and kind of hope that that he would find the note. And then I was like, oh no, that's creepy. Don't do that. And it's even creepier if other people find my love note to Kevin Smith in the meantime. Now is this your first Christmas? Because you're a dad, Reed. And was that your first kid?
Yeah. So he was 9 months yesterday. So he's pretty much still taking over my entire life, which is why the Photoshop stuff kind of plummeted a bit recently.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. Raising a human being probably should take priority over putting Batman's head on pop culture for this.
Well, surely there's a balance. I'm sure there's a balance somewhere.
You've given us a lot of joy over the years. And what people listening don't understand, in the same way I can send John Deeks a text message and get a voiceover, an amazing voiceover back in about 15 minutes, Reed does that with Photoshop. In fact, I think I'm going to have to actually start challenging you a bit more. I think because I will send you some sample photos and stuff. I think I've got to make it a bit harder. I've got to make you work for it.
He literally just told you he has an infant that's taken over his life, and you're like, no. We should make this thing that he helps us out with more difficult. Why do you always have to make things more difficult, Charlie? Seriously. All right. Well, Reed, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, mate, we hope you have a brilliant Christmas. Like, having your first Christmas with the kids going to be absolutely amazing, I'm sure. And thank you very much for the contribution that you've made to the show, and we hope that it will be ongoing as we go forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And thanks so much to both of you guys. It's been fantastic.
No worries, man.
Cheers, mate. Have a good Christmas.
You too. Cheers.
All right. There we go. All right. Well, good.
2 out of 2.
I mean,
if we're a batsman, the first few overs have been pretty strong, right?
Well, I think the balance is good. I mean, I think like straight away we have to send a bit of a shout out so far to the brilliant Mike Howe.
Yeah, he's coordinating all this from Oregon.
Because firstly, here's what I'm going to say about that is, like, hundreds of people responded. And we only kind of put it on the Facebook page, and hundreds of people said they wanted to be involved in the show. And Mike Hell has gone through, had the lottery, then coordinated how this is all going to work. And I feel like the balance has been pretty good so far, Charlie.
Yeah.
I feel like as 150th, started with a good scenario, it's gone into a sort of friend of the show. People have learnt a little bit more behind the scenes,
Yeah, the narrative. So the narrative is unfolding perfectly.
Right. I feel like we've got sort of, what we got is sort of a straight up, it's your opening episode. What you need to start with is a big classic sort of
If this was, oh my God, the neighbours just started up with the fucking leaf blower. Like, Michael, can you tell us, is it playing very loudly for you?
In the background. Anyway,
we'll keep going.
I guess we'll deal with it.
Know.
And if it keeps going for too long, then we can...
What it's like, it's been so far is, when This Is Your Life was on, and they'd bring out like all the people from the past, and they would bring out someone who not everyone would know, it's like their first manager or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah. But then they'd bring out, their comedy partner that they took for 30 years. Like, you sort of got to get that balance of kind of, people like the sort of like a blue chip kind of voices.
No, I like it. It can't be all one thing. You don't want to go and see a movie where there's no, it's all action scenes and no character development. Yeah. Charlie, you got to get this mix.
Speaking of character, we have Joe from Sydney dialing in.
Okay.
Dialing in?
Yeah, dialing in.
Skyping in.
Skyping. Well, I mean, it's
is
still
that a
dialing,
verb?
Isn't it? I mean, I guess...
Do you Skype? It's a verb, I guess. You Skype someone.
You Skype in. Telecall.
Hello, Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Hello. Hey.
Hello, Joe. Oh, hang on. We've got to lean in
now,
just so that Joe can see us.
Can you see it? We may lean back out of camera, but
there we go.
Gotcha.
Don't get freaked out. All right.
Hello, Joe. Thank you very much. Where do we find you today? Sydney?
Just south of Sydney in a town called Mittagong, about an hour south.
Oh, beautiful place, Mittagong.
I know Mittagong. What do I know? What's Mittagong famous for?
It's right next to Barrel, which is the birthplace of Bradman.
Yeah, I know Barrel.
Yep. And I got my ute from Mittagong.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's where I bought my ute.
Yeah, right.
So there you go, the TOFOP mobile. Bought it in Mittagong. First drive back was along that highway. If you're going to buy a ute, Mittagong is a place to buy a ute. Am I right, Joe?
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
As the slogan says, you can't go wrong when you get it from Mittagong.
Oh, nice, Charlie. I mean, I think you could have cut out a few words, but Joe, you seem like this seems like a creepy thing to say to a boy that I've just met on the internet, but you're a handsome young man.
Very handsome man. I thought the same thing.
Thank you.
How old are you, Joe?
I'm 19.
Now it's getting creepy.
19. No. I mean, it got creepy if he said
I'm 16.
Yeah, I'm 16. Okay. How long have you been listening to the podcast, mate?
That's actually one thing I really wanted to bring up with you guys, because I think I'm pretty safe in saying you were definitely the first podcast I ever got into. Period.
The first.
Yeah, I think I picked you guys up at episode 4, so I would have been honestly 13 or so.
I mean, I was about to say too young to be listening to those.
Yeah. I mean, we explicitly put it in the adult category of iTunes. Your parents don't have any of those internet filters on your home computers, no?
No. I was an adventurous podcaster.
So what was a 13-year-old's impression of TOFOP? I mean,
a little too immature.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit below me at first, yeah. No, I think it was actually quite a kind of enlightening thing to hear as a 13-year-old. It was kind of weird. It was around, it's around that time where you're just kind of branching out and finding your own tastes and everything. And one of my best friends at the time, we're still really close, we both got into it together, and it was kind of one of the first things we sort of bonded over. So yeah, it's I'm eternally grateful to you guys. It's been a big presence in my adolescence.
So when I had to leave the show for a short while, did you cry?
Yeah.
There was, I'm not kidding, there was a genuine sense of mourning.
Good. I'm glad.
I remember when the announcement kind of came and it was sort of looming, and the final episode, whatever it was, 80 something, was put out. I listened to it with my friend. We kind of listened to it together, one afternoon at my place or something. And we kind of finished it a bit oh shit, what do we do now?
Get on with your lives, hopefully.
You know, you're like, he'll be back. He'll be back.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I mean, they didn't have podcasts when I would have loved. I guess what we had was like comedy albums,
Right.
Like
Well,
you would
the
pass
12th
around.
Man and
yeah,
things like
yeah.
that
Yeah,
that you would
DJing
quote
and
to each
stuff.
other. Was it like that? I mean, what sort of conversations do you have? I mean, about the podcast. I mean, Charlie and I, when we first started, we would have conversations about things we'd heard on Smodcast,
yeah.
Kevin Smith's podcast. So, you know, was it that sort of thing? Did you quote things from the podcast? Like, what was the kind of relationship you had with it?
You know, I think it was just, it was kind of like one of the first pieces of entertainment that I had like sort of discovered for myself and was kind of like uniquely my own. And it was this like foray into like dirty humor that like had previously been kind of taboo. It was kind of like this, you know, it's around that age where you're just like discovering your tastes, and it was like it was my first exposure to like proper, you know, like like toilet humor.
Now, can I ask you? Because now I want to know what sort of child we've raised. You know, what do you?
We are your fathers.
Yeah. What do you do with yourself now, mate?
So I've just finished my gap year.
Okay,
I
nice.
finished high school last year, and I'll be moving up to Sydney in February and starting uni in March.
And what are you studying at university?
I'm doing a Bachelor of Arts at the University of Sydney, and majoring in linguistics.
Charlie.
Yeah.
I think we've sparked that because I think he's listened to so many bad conversations.
They're murdering the English language. Communication needs to be out there.
It's like an unsolved
polluted.
crime
Yeah.
that he needs to.
We've turned you into a conversational Batman. You're like, never again.
Exactly, that could be it. Could be it.
Well, that's
mate,
exciting, man.
we really appreciate that. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say before we keep going?
Before we cut you off.
Basically, that's basically what it is. Before we move on, you don't need to have anything. Good. All right. There we go.
I just wanted to say, like, yeah, thanks a lot, and keep doing what you're doing. It's been great.
Awesome.
Cheers, mate. It was really nice to talk to you. Thank
Thanks,
you very
Joe.
much. Have a
See
good
ya.
Christmas.
Cheers. See you later.
I like this. This is just like people giving us compliments.
I
and
mean,
shit.
I got to be honest with you so far.
I'm
And
loving it.
The other thing is, I mean, okay, all blokes so far. I will say it's been male. You
It's
know,
a sausage party.
It's a sausage party so far. I think podcasting can be a little sausage
Well, it's two
party.
blokes talking. I mean, on the surface, if you were just like a girl, you might not think, oh, that's for me.
Two hot blokes, though, Charlie.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
an
you know,
audio medium.
some hot voices. I mean, to be honest, if they knew how hot our other listeners were, like Joe, I mean,
Yeah,
did
fucking
you not?
hell. No, I was impressed. I would not expect a dude that good looking and articulate to listen to our show.
Well, not since he was 13.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, and to grow up that well.
I know. We do have a hand in him being such a nice young man, don't we?
I mean, well, he
His
feels
value
like we
system
do.
would have been informed by us at some point, right?
And I mean, maybe as an opposite. Maybe you know how sometimes you
Oh,
listen
yeah.
to something, like I'll listen to Neil Mitchell, but
To know
I
what you
disagree.
hate.
Yeah, to know what I hate. If I haven't had time myself to work out what I hate, I'll just listen to one of his episodes of what he likes, and I go, "Oh, they're the things I hate." Thanks, Neil. So maybe that's what it was like with him. He's like he goes into linguistics because we can't talk. He's become such an upright, young man.
Upstanding.
Upstanding. Also upright. He was
You're upright, I think, right now.
all right, and we've got I think Pat is going to be our next person.
Pat
So
from our hometown of Melbourne. Patch him in, Michael.
let's see. If
This
we
is
can-
exciting. I like the way the
Pat on
window
the line.
spins. It's like, oh, who are we going to see? Imagine if you saw like your own reflection looking back at you. He looked exactly like you.
All right, here we go.
Oh,
We got
Pat.
we
We've
may
got no
have
video
Pat.
for Pat.
Do we have Pat?
Pat, turn your camera on.
Hey boys, how you going?
Good,
Okay.
good. Are you purposely staying anonymous or just
Hang
have you
on,
not
no.
turned
Let me see if I can do this. It's not come on for some reason.
Well,
it?
at
It's
the
all right.
moment
Have you
we-
still got the blue tack over the top
Yeah.
because you don't want AC?
Charlie,
At
that's
the
way too
moment-
high tech, mate. It's actually a sock.
at the moment we have just a green sort of egg that says PH. So it's like we're on Twitter. He's about to start to tell us about how Gamergate was about ethics in games journalism.
Hold on, let me see if I can sort the screen out. How you going? This feels so weird. I'm just looking at your bookcase.
Yeah, so we are here.
Oh, hang on, we're here.
We're just,
We're
as
here,
we've
mate.
had to explain, yeah, we're actually here.
Yeah, we explained it at the start of the podcast, but what we didn't realize is
We have to
that
explain it to each caller.
We'll have to explain it to each caller because the callers aren't listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
But basically, we have one computer and two of us and this table so basically
so
we've just got
wide.
my bookshelf and we're going to lean out again now that we've said hello.
Yeah.
So hello.
Yeah, Will has a Scarface-like desk in his office.
Looking at it now, it is a lot more high tech than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, that's Mike Al. That's not us.
Mate, it is a lot more high tech than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
We don't even understand how this is actually happening.
I don't know if you can hear it in our voices, but we're giddy right now because this is going so
I mean,
well.
just the fact that we've recorded this much of it, to be honest. I mean, the first thing that's gone wrong is I can only see PH instead of Pat's face. That's the only thing.
Describe yourself to us, Pat.
Yeah,
What do you look like?
Pat, what do you look like?
Yeah.
I'm tall, and I'm a 6 foot tall blonde woman, really curvilicious.
Oh, Patricia. That's Patricia. Sorry. Oh, that's our mistake. I'm sorry. We made an assumption there. Embarrassing.
It's very, that's a very gender binary, old fashioned.
White male entitlement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cisgender.
Yeah. I don't know what. Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm sure.
Whatever we are.
That's us.
I get that we're
dinosaurs.
Right. Yeah, dinosaurs.
Is
Yes.
everybody really nervous? Have all the callers been really nervous? Because it is like a
No.
really fucking nerve-wracking experience sitting on Skype waiting for you to call. Like there's a Skype chat that you guys probably don't know about with everybody like just kind of getting really nervous as their number comes up.
So what, you can see the other callers?
Yeah, we can see all the other callers. They're in there like having a little chat about how nervous everyone is and you know
my
what
God.
you talk about and
It's a virtual green room.
Right. Yeah, it's a TOFOP virtual green room.
Yeah,
Oh my
right.
God, this universe has just got so excited.
Yeah, the sooner we can upload our consciousnesses to the computer so we don't have to sit in here and do it, the better.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, everybody's been fantastic so far, Pat, so please don't fuck it up for us.
Yeah.
I can't make any promises. Actually, I mean, there were a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, so the first one, like the one thing that I think about whenever I'm listening to the podcast is what are you guys listening to? Like what's on your iPhone?
Okay, well, my favorite podcast is one called Tell 'em Steve Dave, which is an offshoot of Kevin Smith's show. It's a couple of his mates from New Jersey who run his comic book shop. It's one of these podcasts which is so niche, I can't ever really recommend it to people because I've listened from episode 1 and I know the relationship so well and I know the people on the show so well that I just don't think you can just jump into it. But if you're willing to start at episode 1, it's highly, highly worth it. Like, I just love that show. I look forward to every episode. What else do I listen to? I listen to NPR, Nerdist, Smodcast still, The Dollop, and a great Aussie show called The Weekly Planet, which is like pop culture, comic book reviews, all that kind of stuff. They're fantastic.
I've been listening to so many Westworld podcasts. It's crazy, like about 10 different Westworld podcasts. I also listen to regularly a great Survivor podcast by a guy called Rob Sister Nino. I've not said that correctly, but it's called Rob Has a Podcast, and he does Survivor recaps, and he was on Survivor himself. And
Sorry, for a second, I thought it was like a survivalist podcast where you
No.
do survival techniques. No, he talks about this show,
the
Survivor.
TV show Survivor.
Oh, God.
And how to win. This
is why the terrorists hate us.
It's like an AFL like review show, but about Survivor by
Yeah.
somebody and he gets ex-Survivor players on to talk about strategy and stuff. I love that. I just got out my little podcast thing here just to have a quick look through. I've been listening to Two Dope Queens, which is a really cool podcast. Jessica Williams from The Daily Show and her partner do that show. I love Green Guide Letters. I always listen to. I've been listening a lot to Well May We Say, which is Jeremy Sears' new podcast, which is he was Something Wonky, and he's got a new podcast called Well May We Say. I like I'm a 6-year-old, Tom Ballard's podcast. The Dollop. Here's all my footy ones. NAB AFL Trade Radio, the Sounding Board, which is Damo and Hutchie, Little Dum Dum Club, Junk Time AFL Podcast, The Rub Catch Up, Something Wonky. Yeah, it's Comedy Film Nerds. I mean, I listen to podcasts all the time. So
Yeah. I just realized I'll just go through my list because I've got my phone too now. So I've got the ones I mentioned plus Junk Time, Osher Ginsberg,
Osher's
Education,
podcast is awesome.
Serial, Invisibilia, Joe Rogan, about 60 football podcasts, and Star Talk, which is the one I've just started listening to, which is Neil deGrasse Tyson, sort of talking about science and stuff.
Okay,
Cool.
nice.
Is that was that your only question, or did you have another one you said?
A couple of questions?
A couple of questions and like a
Yeah.
few comments as well. Charlie, mate, I just want
Yes.
to say thank you for the That's Awesomes or the That's Awesomes with
Thank you,
Eileen.
mate.
They were amazing. And I started meditating
thank
every
you.
day after listening to them.
It's good shit, right? That meditation stuff.
It's like those were like they were really special. They really stuck with me. So I just like wanted to say like thanks. They were great. Like I was really like genuinely surprised by how touched I was by them. So that was awesome.
Thank you,
And
mate.
meditation, so good.
Oh, your mum. Like, I mean, I just want to, while we're on that, Pat, I just want to talk to that a little bit as well, because I personally was such a great fan of those podcasts as well. I mean, firstly, that one we did with your mum, which
Yeah,
was,
the
again,
TOFOP.
this time of the year.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
right.
it was a Christmas episode, I think, as we put it up with. And getting to know her through that, but then also getting to listen to you two talk. And I knew, obviously, what was going on behind the scenes, but so I thought it was amazing just the way that you two would have these conversations. And I could have listened to your mum talk about the world and how the world works and how it should work endlessly. Like, you know, just such a great insight into... It was great to see someone at that stage of their life with everything that they've been through, and someone who... And this is my thing when we talk about religion and stuff, is like, when I look at somebody like that, I don't want to be that dickhead on stage going, oh, you're a fucking idiot because you believe in God or whatever, because... Your mum's was the opposite of an idiot. She was one of the smartest people I had ever heard talk about how we should relate to each other and how the world should actually work. And I found them as insightful as, like, you know, when I do philosophy, I found listening to you talk to your mum as insightful as any of the guests that I've had on that show in regard to, you know, what life might be about and how you should like approach an attack and understand and reconcile your death as part of your life. I just thought they were amazing, and what I love from podcasts.
Thanks, man. Thank you, guys. That's really nice. No, it's actually her anniversary was a couple of weeks ago. So, the one great thing is, I reckon those podcasts, I sort of I've kind of retired. That's awesome, because she was the last person I interviewed. And I just kind of feel like, who do I get on after that? You know what I mean? Like, it's a tough act to follow. But I think it's just, look, she had to go through that experience in order to find those pearls of wisdom, and it's just that's the kind of the beauty and the tragedy is, like, someone has to go through an experience like that to have that kind of perspective. I'm just glad that it's so many people have responded to it.
And how are you a year? Like, I mean,
Good. Like this week we actually had to pack up her place. So, like, after someone dies, there's all these little milestone moments like Mother's Day, their birthday, the anniversary of their death, all that kind of stuff, and you just each one. I sort of that time I spent with her in that last year, I made a concerted effort to spend a lot of time with her, and recording the podcast was for the audience, but it was also for me. You know, I just sort of wanted to have something on record, because when someone dies, the first thing you forget is their voice, the sound of their voice. It's easy to forget that. And so this year has been really good. Like, all I've been is very grateful, because she died in the way she wanted to. She was on her own terms. She died at home, surrounded by her kids. You know, like, nothing bad has come out of this. Like, it's sad, but, you know, her whole philosophy was, this is the most natural thing in the world. You know, that's her last diary entry, which she wrote the last time I saw her, was her making an observation about a tree and saying, you look at the leaves in the tree, eventually they dry up and they fall. That's just the way it goes.
Although her second last one was, Dear Charlie, still hiding from the Jews in the attic, which I thought was a bit weird, but...
Something about a boy wizard as well. I don't know. It could have been something. But yeah, no. So it's hard to be sad when someone was so prepared. You know, that was the thing. Like, she was ready for it, and she couldn't have gone out in a better way. So, you know, I'm nothing but grateful, and all that stuff I was saying about her having to go through that experience was like, it's been what a great life lesson I now have. You know, I've been equipped with all this perspective and stuff. So yeah, you know, I'm good.
We appreciate having you on today, Pat. Thank you very much for being part of it.
Thanks, mate.
So great to talk to you.
Bye.
Cheers, mate. Okay, Charlie's, we had a break and you've moved around your chair. So now we are actually both in shot if somebody dials through.
Yeah, and we don't have to explain it every single
person, which I think probably would have got very annoying on the podcast after a while.
But we've got Kate from Sydney.
Hello.
Kate,
hello.
wow.
I can hear Kate. Okay, brilliant. Good to have someone on in Sydney. So thank you for being on the podcast. Now, did you have a question or a comment or something for today?
I did. I've got both. I wanted to just do a general thanks and tell you how much I like TOFOP and how good it's been. And it's what got me onto podcasting in the first place. So thank you so much.
Kate, you like TOFOP.
Oh,
You
see,
like.
only you, Charlie, and I mean, only you and I could both see how much that hurt us. I mean, is a kind of a 3.5 star review.
Yeah,
there, Kate.
like,
I gotta be honest
I
with
like
you,
Will's
mate.
dogs.
Yeah.
But I have my dog, and I love my dog.
Yeah, and I love my dogs.
Yeah.
But I like your dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Do you want to go again?
we'll give you.
I don't know, do I?
No, you.
Like I'm digging a hole here.
No, I
No,
feel
no.
like we've bullied Kate. We've
Yes.
mansplained
I
over the
know.
top of her. Women
Oh,
can't
God.
get a voice in podcasting, Charlie, without two men trying to correct them and talk over the top of them. Let's speak. Kate, speak in her own words.
Yes, and I love you both so much that I have come to all of the Sydney live shows. How is that?
Oh, really? Did you come to
Yes.
TOFOP 100? Oh, really? Do you feel like TOFOP 150 we should have done another live show, or is this kind of does this meet the standard?
This is better because I've always been too terrified to approach either of you when I've actually happened to see you in person, and this is forcing me to get to talk to you. So
All right. So you entered the lottery going, well, you know what? If it happens, it happens. But if not, that's fate telling me what should happen.
Right. This is our version of chat roulette.
Yeah. except, well, actually, you can't see below Will's desk, but we do have our pants on, I swear.
So the next person should be worried about getting a dick pic. I'll pass that on.
Yeah, so we understand there's a virtual chat room you're all hanging out in before the show.
There is, and I just terrified everybody because right before you called, I accidentally called everyone in the group and they all had a massive freak out and thought that they'd all missed a call from you.
Oh, okay, nice one. Well done, Kate. I appreciate that you've created some trouble.
Tension.
That seems
A
good.
nervous
I like
guest
that.
is a good
We needed
guest.
that a little. At this stage of the podcast, I felt like we just needed to.
Yeah.
We've got about midway through.
Well, it's like-
and you need to change it
Well,
up.
apparently
a little bit.
Dave Letterman, he chills his studio because he wants the audience to sort of never
Right.
be dopey or fall asleep. And so we like to keep our virtual guests on edge.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
so
they're
Kate,
calming themselves by exchanging cat photos. So
nice. Well, that's. All right. Did you have a question as well, mate?
I did have a question. I wanted to ask you, outside of podcasting, what's your favourite project that you've been involved in?
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. Do you want to go first, Charlie?
I'd say the feature film that I'm writing with my wife. Gemma's going to direct it. We've been working with Screen Australia, and it's been 6 years, but I love it. I've actually even though it's taken so long, every year it's gotten better. Like the work's gotten better. I've understood more about what I'm doing, and it's kind of funny because we had a chance to sort of make the film years ago. And, we felt like, we should have pulled the trigger. And I'm kind of glad that we didn't, because the more time we've put into it, development is really hard to do in Australia. You're not going to get paid for a lot of development. So you really have to do the development yourself. And I just have found in the last year or so that I'm really enjoying that process, like working towards a goal still. And, we're getting sort of funding here and there, but actually just delving into making it a good story and what good story means and all that kind of stuff.
But I think Kate was asking what actual project, not imaginary thing that you've done in your life.
Right.
And my favourite is my plan for a rocket to space that I've been working on for years. And
My
I really
time
feel the
machine's coming on
development.
really well.
Yeah, I've drawn a blue police box, and I feel like I'm really on the way to time travel.
Will, what's your answer?
My stand-up is obviously, my passion. But the thing that I enjoy...
This would be a great moment for you to drop something like you've been taking lute lessons or something, like a Peruvian lute.
Well, sometimes I do think about that. I'm like, what is... Like, for me, I think it was, in some ways, it was 2 guys, 1 cup. Because I know that you said outside podcasting, but for me, that was something that we kind of did so that we could spend more time... getting interested in AFL. I mean, we were both big AFL fans anyway, but it gave us an excuse to really kind of then go, I'm going to dive into this world and try to...
Well, TOFOP was an excuse to get together.
Yeah.
That was an excuse. Now we've got a reason to catch up. And so you do that. So we should just do podcasts about everything in our life that's deficient.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a very good point. and we're spending a lot of time traveling. Maybe we should just do a travel podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess outside the world of podcasting, I don't know. Like, I mean, I like all the things I do, but I don't love any of them so much that I want to do them all the time. I like set list, I guess, is probably the answer to that question. If I could think of one project that kind of changed my life and changed the way that I, like, you know, perform, but also just kind of taught me something about comedy. Like the first time I ever went on stage at Setlist to do a completely improvised stand-up show, I can't remember feeling as terrified to do anything. And now having done it like 50, 60 times, like I still find it like a very invigorating experience. So maybe Setlist, the stand-up show.
Do you know if Setlist is going to be doing more in Australia? Because I haven't had a chance to see it. I think it did Melbourne Comedy Festival, didn't it, one?
Let me pitch. It does do the festivals, and like I think Adelaide it may be doing again this year, and hopefully they'll do some Melbourne ones. They did Melbourne last year again. The thing I was going to ask you, Kate, now here's a question just to you.
Turn the tables, Will. I like it.
No, well, it's about Setlist because I was talking to Paul Provenza and Troy Conrad, who are Troy created the show, but Paul works with him, on the show. And I've been pitching the idea, and they want me to do it, of doing a set list, but essentially where I do an entire 60, 70-minute show as a set list. So instead of doing a 10, 15-minute set list, literally doing like a
completely improvised show, but not improvised like my improv shows are, where I can just talk about whatever I want, but improvise in that set list format where every sort of 3 or 4 minutes I get like a
it's like when a rap battle, you get thrown a word and you got to spit some rhymes over it.
Right. So, do you think people would come and see me do a tour of that, Kate?
Yes, I think people would come. Whether it would work, I don't know. Do you think?
I mean, Kate,
Jesus.
I wasn't asking whether it'd work. But Kate, that's my problem.
Yeah, exactly. But Will, what would you wear? I mean, you got to buy a new wardrobe.
No, I think people would come. People will always come to see you give something new a go.
Will, what about your life? Don't you think you'll be just tired every day and really stressed from the process and not be able to give yourself to other people in your life? You're right, Kate. You're right. You've talked me out of it. I appreciate it.
Well, the idea of doing that for an hour is stressing me out, so I can only assume that it's terrifying for you.
I get that. I am an empathetic comedy fan. Like, I actually find going to see stand-up comedy quite stressful because I think I'm too empathetic, and I see the tightrope act and I'm like, oh God, when there's a lull in the crowd or a joke doesn't land, I get really like, oh, what's this guy going to do now? I find it like tense.
That's why you can only relax when you come to see me.
Yeah.
Because there's no fear that it'll go wrong. Okay. Kate, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast and listening to the podcast. And we have dare say, loved having you as well.
Ah, nice.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kate.
Bye.
Cheers,
Bye. She likes it.
All right, good. We got Kate back on board. Good.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was more of a nervous misspoking than an intention.
No, I think
slander.
Kate just was like, well, Kate doesn't give away love for free.
Yeah, right. I get it.
Like Kate's just maybe a person who's like, you know what? When I give you 5 stars,
if she told us she loved us,
5 stars.
Yeah, exactly. I get that.
You know, and you can trust that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you're like, well, this person doesn't give, if you're just one of those people who just gives it away.
Yeah.
High praise at all times.
Yeah, like a compliment.
She goes, I love you. And then you see her later and she goes, oh, I love garbage bags. You're like, wow. I mean, that's
they are pretty good. The ones with the ties are awesome. And the ones that lemon scented, you can't get better.
That was a bad example. I understand garbage bags are also lovable. You're right, Charlie.
Hey, let's go across the Tasman. Is that the ocean?
Well, we've already done across because let's go back across.
Back across.
Back to New Zealand.
To Lena in Auckland.
Oh, well, imagine Lena. Lena can clear it up for us. She can tell us if she's Lena or Lena.
Are you a Lena or a Lena, Lena? Lena. All right.
Yeah, nice work.
And you're in Auckland, is that right?
I am.
Have you seen Reed Parker hanging around? He's in Dunedin, apparently.
He's in Dunedin.
No, I haven't. Only on Twitter, which kind of counts.
We can't see you just yet. I'm not sure. Is your camera on?
We have a lovely picture of you at the moment.
Yeah, it is a nice portrait.
But, here we go. We've got the little spinny thing coming around now. So
you're incoming, I believe.
Lena. At the moment. Well, okay. Well, she hasn't come through.
Wow, that's weird. We got the
spin. Oh,
there you are. Hey.
There we go.
Hello, you've gone blonde.
Yes,
your profile pic's a brunette.
There's a bit of an old photo.
Lena's changed looks. Lena catfished us for a second there.
Where does Lena come from? What's your background? Are you like, because that's like a Scandinavian name, isn't it, Lena?
It's a bit all over the show. So, I mean, I'm Kiwi from generations back, like English originally. Like most of us. But when my mum was pregnant with me, my dad was out mountaineering and met these Russian tourists, and one of them had to be like rescued off a mountain, and she was Lena, and they were like, oh, that's a great name. So they named me after someone.
Hopefully we have a daughter who is constantly in jeopardy. Like that other Lena. Oh, Lena's frozen.
Hang on,
for a
we've had a
second.
little freeze from Lena. She's. I will guarantee Lena, if she is listening to this, that she's at least frozen in a way that isn't too comical.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Like sometimes when the Skype freezes, you really do look like
she looks like she's
been caught mid-stroke.
She looks like she's catching a sneeze. She's at the start of catching a sneeze.
Yeah, or just being delighted by something.
Yeah.
I feel like she's just recent. Oh, she's like,
Oh, it's a fond memory.
Yeah, okay, she's gone. Lena's gone. Lena's had
gone.
enough of this bullshit.
Oh, no.
She realised we weren't Hamish and Andy. She's rung the wrong podcast. She's like, this is not what I called for at all.
Okay, we're getting a message from Mike.
Maybe
This is the first road bump.
Maybe because Lena is from New Zealand, she actually thought that it was TOFOP and she was going to get to talk to Russell Crowe. And she's tuned in and she's seen us and she's like going, hey, and then just like hung up really quickly.
Exactly.
Like,
Was a bit suspicious.
I've made a terrible mistake.
I wonder if it would be weird dialing into a podcast that you listen to. We've only heard their voices. It would be weird to suddenly see faces talking.
Well, I
at you.
imagine that like people mostly know. I mean, it's not like we are secret identities. It's not like this podcast is like TISM and we've been doing it in balaclavas.
Not
or
secret
something like that.
identities, but I would say like definitely like people might have seen you on stage or doing Gruen is different to the Wil that's in TOFOP, and the same with definitely the same with.
Oh
how
no, I
people
feel
might know
you're
me.
exactly like your home and away character when you come here. I've got to be honest with you. So all right, well, look, we're gonna
Put a pin in Lena.
We're gonna put a pin in Lena. That's a bit of a teaser.
Yeah.
People go, well, hang on.
How does that
What
one
about
end?
Lee?
Yeah.
Got to keep tuning in to see what Lena's up to. All right, we're gonna go to Adelaide.
Adelaide.
See if we've got a better connection to Adelaide. We're going to see if Beck from Adelaide can get involved in this conversation. So hopefully we will see her in a minute.
Oh no, Lena's back.
I'm back.
Oh, and
look
so
at that.
and I
hang
think we're
on.
getting Beck as well.
Hang on. We're
It's
going
a-
to get
it's a-
Beck and Lena. Oh no, okay, Beck's gone.
Oh, no, Beck's gone.
No, Beck's
Sorry.
been dropped off. It's okay. It's good.
You got bumped, Lena, but then we bumped the person we put on for you.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm back. It's all right.
Well, while we have you, Lena, can I ask you, how did you discover the podcast in New Zealand?
Well, a couple of years ago, I was over in Melbourne during the comedy festival, and my friend was like, we have to go see this guy, Wil Anderson. I was like, I don't know who that is, but okay. And we went, and I thought it was great. And then last year, I got really into watching Survivor. And so I started listening to Rob Has a Podcast about Survivor. And then while I was like on the podcast app for the first time, and I was like, what are other podcasts I've heard of? And I was like, oh, I remember Wil Anderson had a podcast. And then here I am. And then so earlier this year, I came over during the comedy festival and like went to your show, and my friend and I, who like had originally introduced me to it, we went to the live show as well. So.
Oh, right. Can I ask you about the live show? Because after that, I walked away from that show feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. I was like, what happened? Like, I was so like unsure, like if we'd done a good show. Can you tell us, what was your experience of the show?
It was the greatest thing ever.
That's what I thought too. But I mean, I admittedly I did fall over at the end. So.
Yeah, but I mean, like we had,
We were like,
we
oh
had.
my gosh.
But you realise before the show started, Deeksy had this idea. He emailed me beforehand saying, I'd like to be your butler on stage and I'd like to bring out a carton full of imported beers that you and Wil can, and the guests can select from during the show. I'm like, okay. So he comes in, he hasn't got an esky. He's got, you know, those post office boxes, the ones like the thick waxy cardboard.
Uh-huh.
So he's got one of those and he starts putting all this ice in there. And I'm like, mate, that's going to leak. Like you need a proper esky. And he's like, oh, I don't have one. And he's going, I'll just tape it up. So Deeksy's in his tuxedo on his knees, like taping up the box to take on stage. So we take it out before the show goes, and Kathleen, our producer, is like, no way. Like, that's leaking water everywhere. There's like cables everywhere. This is like a live stage. You can't bring that on stage. So then I have to help Deeksy cart this fucking thing off stage. And we're in the bathroom like 5 minutes before the show, trying to work out how we can get these beers on stage. So we grab a bin from the bathroom, like tip out the contents and throw the ice and the beers in there so we can wheel it onto stage.
I did not.
So that's
know
how the
that
show
story.
started. So that's how the show started, and I was just like, it spun more out of control. But everyone that I've spoken to is like, yeah, it was great, man. I was like, wow, I guess maybe I was just in the eye of the tornado, so I couldn't see it from the out. I couldn't see the beauty from the outside. I could just see shit spinning around me.
That's how the best shows are, Charlie. All right. So I wanted to ask you about Survivor, but just seeing you mentioned you're a Survivor fan, and you probably don't know this because this podcast isn't going out live, but we've actually previously already on this episode talked about Rob Has a Podcast and how much I love that podcast. And did you watch the most recent season of Survivor?
Yes, of course.
And how did you feel about the season as a whole for a start?
I really liked it. I really, really liked it.
And how did you feel about the winner?
Oh my God, I was so happy. Like, I'd spent the last 3 episodes crying every time he was on screen. And I had him because my mum, my brother and I had a fantasy pool. Like, we did like a fantasy.
Thank God you said pool after that. I thought that sentence was going to end with fantasy. I'm like, oh God, I don't like where this is going. Some weird Survivor cosplay or something.
Drop your buffs.
Adam was in my fantasy pool, so I was invested on that level to win, to get the glory. And also I just like loved him and the story of his mum, and yeah, I was really, really pleased with the winner.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was one of the best seasons of Survivor in a very, very long time.
Because I've only seen 4, like the 2 last year and the 2 this year, so I'm still a bit of a novice. But yeah, I was really happy with that.
Well, one day when I have time, I'm going to do my podcast where I go back and I watch every season of Survivor and do a podcast about that. But one day in the future, maybe we can watch some old series. That's where you can get up to date. All right, Lena, did you have a question or a comment or something for us today?
So I wanted to ask, because I'm a relatively new listener, I wanted to ask, what was the origin story of TOFOP?
Nice, that's good. That's a good one. Because
there may
be people who don't know the origin story.
Okay, so Will and I have been friends. We met in like 2001, right? 2001. And we became friends and we would hang out a lot. And I guess often when we would hang out, we would just have these bullshit conversations, hypotheticals and fairly specific topics, wrestling, AFL, that kind of stuff. Often we'd go to parties where there's like other people to talk to, but we would sit in the corner and just talk this nonsense to each other. And so I think the genesis of it came from driving up to Queen. Where did we go? Oh, to Byron Bay. Is that right?
We were filming a behind the scenes thing for.
I was shooting this thing for
a tour that I was doing, and we were doing a little behind the scenes, like making of. So we did a road trip together.
Yeah, that's right.
Up to Byron Bay,
and we were listening to a lot of Smodcast at the time. And we were just laughing. And then it's like, this is actually something that we could do. I mean, we basically do it anyway. So I think my memory of it was round about 2010, like April or something like that. We had a pilot episode.
Did we?
Yeah, we did a pilot episode that we didn't release.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that.
Yeah, we did a pilot episode, which we thought went well. And then we did our first ever episode in my house with one microphone gaffer taped to a camera tripod. Because we only had one mic stand.
That's pretty amazing. I can't remember the pilot episode.
Neither can I.
Does it exist still? Is there somewhere that we have that recorded?
I would have a hard drive somewhere, but it would be interesting.
It'd be more like a Patreon punishment
I think the
level.
issue for me, and maybe a teabagger can help me out, someone who understands computers, maybe Mike Howell, actually. Because the original system I used to cut the shows on was on this old desktop Mac that I had, and I can't even remember what the program was called, but that's what all the files would be converted to whatever program it was. And so I have a hard drive full of those files, but I don't have the operating system to open it, if that makes any sense. So it probably does exist. I just would have to find the files and send it to someone who knows how to open it.
Wow. I'm not sure that I would necessarily want to listen. I often think even about the original episodes, about the first 40 or 50.
I've not heard. I would hate to go back and listen to. I do remember the first episode. This is so dumb. Like, we used the Beastie Boys. That was our first theme song. Was Check It Out, I think. And we emailed your manager and we said, we've got this podcast. And I said, I'll just use this track. And he was like, well, have you licensed it? And I'm like, well, no, but it's just like a small section. It's like, it's not worth it. And we got so scared. We're like, oh, shit. We'll have to compose our own music. Now every fucking podcast I listen to just plays whatever fucking song they want to play. So the Beastie Boys could have been like, the theme song. Instead, we just got our mate on his like fucking garage band to mock up the TOFOP theme song.
Yeah, I do notice that a lot of podcasts just don't care about
No, don't care at all.
rights of artists or music or anything like that.
No. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I have only listened to like probably the last 18 months or 2 years, so I've never heard any of the originals. But maybe that should be my holiday listening. I've got a lot. I've got a flight tonight,
so much drama and so many in-jokes. I think it would be, I think you might find it interesting. Like, I can't guarantee the quality of the early, I would say the first 30 episodes are rough in terms of like, often where the mics aren't turned on or something goes wrong or whatever, or levels all over the place. But there is the genesis of a lot of stuff that would become like a TOFOP trope.
You know what is actually
a TROFOP?
I reckon the good way to get into it is that Justin did a whole bunch of best of episodes.
Oh yeah, that's
remember,
good,
edit them together, and there are some best ofs that kind of are the best of that period of time. And if you like those, then you can go back and listen to individual episodes.
I think he clips all the highlights of the references we make to this day.
I mean, look, if you've ever thought about Kathy Bates and time travel, it's worth going back and at least listening to that episode.
Yeah,
because I'm flying to Brisbane tonight, so I've got a 4-hour flight. Maybe I could listen to some retro TOFOP.
Yeah,
okay,
well, if
good
you,
suggestion.
I think they're listed on iTunes as bonus episodes, the best ofs. So just check the feed. Probably from about 2012 onwards, there'll be some best ofs because that's when I was on hiatus.
Yeah. Well, it was very nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
So great to talk to you guys as well. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Worked out well the second time too.
It's good.
Good, clear connection.
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and she's gone.
All right, she's gone. All right, so next up's probably going to be Beck from
Adelaide.
Yeah, we got a little teaser Beck just before.
Basically what happened is if it was the Tonight Show, 2 guests walked out of the curtain at the same time and we had to send one back.
Well, basically what it was, the person who was meant to be coming on second was ready, but the person who was like the first guest was still in the bathroom or something. And so they just like, you're going to have to go on.
And then called her back. So the next caller is Beck from Adelaide. Radelaide. We're getting it all over the map here, aren't we? It's good.
A good run of girls too now, which I like, which is good.
Hello?
Hello.
Beck.
Hi.
Beck, you were there the whole time. Sorry, we were waiting for you to speak.
I was like, am I supposed to be talking or am I interrupting?
So because you could see us just sitting there not doing anything like a couple of idiots, right?
I can see someone's arm. That's all I can see.
Oh, hang on.
Can you see really? I'm waving. Can you see me
I
waving?
can see your arm, but the other half of the screen is... then I move it, then I can see Will.
Is your camera on?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, we can't see you just yet.
We can't see you, Beck.
Oh, no, here you come. There you
here we
are.
go.
Oh,
there we
I
go.
know you, Beck.
Yeah.
Beck Dahl.
I know.
So returning the favour, I appeared on Beck's radio show during Pride Round in Melbourne. Beck, and who's the girl you do the show with?
Fiona.
They do a footy show. And so Beck contacted me, was it via Instagram or something like that, to come on the show? And I fucked up twice. Firstly,
you did.
I didn't realise they were I thought they were in a break or something because the producer's taken me over. They're standing there talking with their headsets. And so I walk up and introduce myself, but they're in the middle of a bit, talking to each other. And I'm like, hello, I'm Charlie. And so they wave me off. Then I get my headset put on and I couldn't hear anything. And so I start swearing and they're looking at me like, you can't swear. This isn't TOFOP.
We also interviewed Will as well.
Yes, I have been on Beck's show and
second, I believe. You came on. You went to me first, right?
Yeah, that's true. But she went to me to talk about the premiers. So I guess
When St Kilda's the premiers, Charlie, you can come second.
Okay.
And of course, Beck was at our big live post grand final.
Oh yes, you were as well
with the boys from Junk Time.
No, so give it plug your show. What's the radio show you do?
It's Joy 94.9, Australia's only gay and lesbian radio station. I am their equal opportunity straight person. But they let me on. But the show you were both on was Chicks Talking Footy, 8:30 Wednesday nights. So
And
we're all girls.
And how long have you been a AFL football fan, Beck?
Well, I've been a football fan for life, but Adelaide didn't have a team until the Crows came in, so I was a West Adelaide supporter.
Did you jump on board the Crows? Did you ever think about not jumping on board the Crows, or was it just one of those things where you're like, Adelaide's got a team now, I'm going to barrack for the Crows?
Yeah, because I wasn't going to be a dirty, like, Port Adelaide feral when they came in. So,
It's funny. Like, I'm only just now starting to get over my trauma of Adelaide because of 97. Like, Adelaide became my most hated team. And then round about 2005, when you guys were the Crowbots, I just hated Adelaide supporters. Like, for some reason at the ground, I always thought they were really arrogant considering they hadn't done anything since Malcolm Blight left. But now I like Adelaide. There's the Dangerfield factor when he played, but now Eddie Betts. Like, I was talking to my mate who's a dyed-in-the-wool Saints supporter, and he was talking about like what a great forward pocket Stephen Milne was. And I was like, Eddie Betts, like by far now. Like, not only is Eddie Betts an amazing footballer, but he's a fucking like marquee player. Like, you go to the games to watch Eddie Betts, right?
He's the best. And I was the same as you. Like, I had so much 1997 pain about the Adelaide Crows. But here's the thing, Charlie. All that pain's now just part of the beautiful story about our premiership in 2016. So it actually just made it better. So now I love the Crows for what they did to us then, so I could enjoy so much what we did to everybody else now.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I mean, you had an abusive boyfriend who slapped you around. Now you've found true love.
Right.
And
It's
you're
just
like,
made
well,
it better.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's a weird way to put it, Charlie. You didn't need to make it weird like that. That feels...
Beck, do you have a
it
question?
would be weird if it wasn't weird. I want to know what you two are doing for Christmas.
Oh, okay. Cool. Nice.
What am I doing for Christmas?
are you?
I am just staying in Sydney, not doing family stuff. Gonna just do like an orphan's Christmas. A friend of ours is having lunch, and so everyone's got kids. Most of our friends have kids now, so I think like 4 couples are getting together and just do what everyone else does: eat and then get really drunk.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, last year I had because we did half of Christmas together last year. The second half, the first half I did at the family farm. So that was a bit of a crazy day. So this year I'm having a very relaxed day and doing nothing on Christmas Day. And then Amy...
You can come to our thing if you want.
Okay, well maybe I'm doing that on Christmas Day. And then Amy and I are going to go to dinner. We've booked in to go to a nice restaurant for dinner.
I mean, we should have this conversation off air, but I assumed you'd be going to see your family at Christmas.
Yeah,
That's probably why I didn't invite you.
Decided not to do that. Okay, well maybe I'll do that. Okay, well maybe we're doing something together. Thanks for bringing us together, Beth.
I'm glad I sorted that out.
Without you, we couldn't coordinate our own lives.
Lucky I'm here. Shit.
Well, we did have a conversation about a wedding we're going to a couple of days afterwards, but we just didn't have a conversation about what we were doing
For
previously.
Christmas, yeah, that's right.
So it was fun. Well, thank you very much, for being supportive of the podcast, mate, and thanks for having us on your shows this year. And thanks for being on our show. We really appreciate it.
I feel like it's quid pro quo now. We're all even.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's what we've provided content for each other. That's the modern world.
And thank you for not swearing on our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I do what you can't, Charlie.
Which is
Be
mostly
a chick
everything.
talking footy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and know things about footy. And win premierships.
Yeah. Oh,
anyway,
fuck
all
off.
those
All right,
things.
we're done. Bye, Beck.
All right, thanks, boys. See you later.
Thank you, Beck. See you next time. We'll do it. Get back on again next time. We'll go back to back.
We snuck in a bit of a 2 guys, 1 cup, but that's fair enough.
Well, that's good. This
Because
is like-
2 guys,
because-
1 cup doesn't exist without TOFOP.
Right. And in the old days.
Did I just say 2 guys, 1 gup?
Yeah.
That's our fish podcast. When Will and I adopt a guppy. 2 guys, 1 gup.
2 guys, 1 pup. Where we adopt a puppy for the podcast.
2 guys, 1 sup, which is us and just a rapper.
2 guys, what's up? 2 guys, you up? Which is where we just creepily message people at 3 o'clock in the morning to see if they're up. I think that's classic TOFOP because we used to ruin TOFOP by talking about AFL.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
So-
we're playing some of the hits. We haven't had any Batman questions yet,
No,
which I'm
not
surprised
yet, but,
about.
I mean, maybe down there.
You think?
No, I don't know. Maybe
We've moved past that.
Well, maybe Batman's been ruined. Do you know what I mean? Zack Snyder's ruined it for the podcast.
I think so. He has. He's taken the sheen off it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel a bit dorky talking about it now because when you talk about it, they're like, are you talking about those fucking Justice League films? You're like, no.
Why would I be?
No. It's weird. Let's get off that topic.
Oh, I will say this though. I was backstage at my gig in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin last week. Thanks to everyone who came out and saw me, by the way. There was heaps of podcast fans who came out and saw the show. So I was having a conversation with the other 2 comedians who were both great guys. And one of them was reading Ex Machina, the Brian K. Vaughan book, which I loved. And then Dark Knight came on the telly backstage. And we start talking about, blah, blah, blah. And then the topic of Batman versus Superman comes up, and I say, "Don't get me started," And then I start. And about 20 minutes later, they're staring at me like, how can one man have so many opinions about this movie? And one of the dudes was like, so what would have happened if we did get you started?
All right, we've got all the way from Perth. We have Kaya. I believe we decided
let's see if it is Kaya. It's spelt Kaija, but I went with Kaija, but I think you went with Kaya.
Kaya.
Yeah, and I feel like you're going to be
Your
correct.
love is lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted. Clifted.
Well, because she's Kaya. Like,
why does a cliff roll off Kaya?
Higher, and then like you went higher to Kaya, so I was like lifted to Clifted. I just thought it'd be a funny little repeat, you know?
Well, if she has a brother or a cousin called Cliff,
yeah,
that would be.
Or you'd be like, she probably has got a lot of higher Kaya.
Hiya, Kaya.
Hiya, Kaya. Yeah.
You're my sire, Kaya.
Kaya.
If she was a vampire.
Yeah.
And she made other people's vampires.
Yeah.
You're my sire,
if she was
vampire.
a vampire. Anyway, she's probably here, but just has decided not to come on board because we're talking about her name.
We've had a bit of a delay. I'm assuming she's dropped
Well,
off.
she's in Perth as well, so it's the other side of the country. So
yeah, but it's been pretty good so far.
I know, but also these people probably thought we'd be to them by now. It's taken probably a little
How long have
longer
we been
than we were
talking
expecting.
for?
Well, we've been talking for an hour and 15, and we had a break.
Oh wow!
And we started.
How does
a
it
little
felt
bit late,
like that?
So no, I mean
it's all this fresh blood, Will.
Well, it's because other people have been talking for some of it.
Yeah.
So that's been quite nice.
And giving us compliments mostly.
So let's see if we can find Kaya. Any chance that we're going to see Kaya?
Yeah, it looks like she's coming through.
Oh, here we go.
Kaya.
Hi.
Hi. This is Charlie.
There you are.
Yeah, can you see
Hi,
us?
Charlie.
Hello.
Hi, Will.
I'm Will. Kaya, we can't see you. Is your camera on?
We've got a photo of you at the races or something. It looks like you're at the races or a wedding.
3 people.
3 people. Are you? Which one? You're the one in the middle?
Maybe. Who knows? Kaya might.
Here she is.
We go.
Yay!
Hello, Kaya.
Hi, Kaya.
Hi.
Joining us all the way from Perth, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
So, how long have you? What time did you have to get up to be on hold for this?
Normal hours. I was at work for 8:30, and so I've just squirreled away into a little meeting room.
Well, you're our second caller who's actually calling from work, which alarms me about Australia's productivity going forward, Will.
Right. Well, I like it. I like that people are willing to step away from their jobs, to talk about
It's morning tea
podcast.
time. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a ring into a fictional radio show. Break.
Just hypothetically, let's throw a hypothetical at you. Just say your boss or your supervisor walks in right now and asks what you're doing. What do you tell him?
Yeah. What lie have you got prepared?
I would say that I am talking to an Australian podcast about the importance of science because that's what my job is.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
PR
Okay.
for science. Okay. Nice.
All right. Let's get started.
Okay. So, Kaya, did you have a question or a comment or something, a science question for us today? Something we can clear up for you?
It is. It's very scientific, but not actually.
Let me just say before you ask it, it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
Yeah.
It was entirely about climate change. I'm very disappointed. No. My question is inspired by my sister Elise. She was wondering if you could pick a Marvel or DC character and reimagine them or rewrite them, but into a completely Australian landscape and sort of story, who would you pick? Why?
Good question.
Gee, that's pretty good.
It's really good.
Okay, so I mean, let's just think about it. Like Batman's not great for the Australian environment because that outfit,
Yeah.
like it just feels a bit.
But you
too
could adapt it. You could Australian. He could become like Fruit Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just hang
And his
upside
cape
down in
is
parks.
his cape is connected at his ankles and his wrists. So when he puts his arms out, he just glides. Fruit Batman.
I don't mind that. I got to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Wolverine could be Wombat-reen.
I mean, I would have thought that the Flash would be handy in Australia. I mean, it's long distances.
Long distances.
Like, yeah, say for example, there's an emergency.
But you have
in
to Australianize him. You got to retool him for Australian. So
Yeah, but
he can keep his name because Barry Allen sounds like a real Aussie name, right?
His name's already Barry.
And Wally West, like both
Barry and
Flashes
Wally.
are perfectly
already
Australian.
sounds Australian.
Yeah.
And we just wouldn't call him the Flash. We call him Fast as Fuck or something.
Fast cunt.
Yeah, Fast.
Can you call that fast cunt? Brainiac's taken over Melbourne. Where's that fast cunt?
And Brainiac is how we refer to anyone who finished high school. I mean, you can't make many Australian animals. I wouldn't have thought like wombat man, koala koala
Wolverines
girl,
and wombats are quite similar, though. And wombat, because wombats are quite tough, and Wolverine's indestructible.
That's
so
true.
I think you could do it, and his costume could be just a burly fur coat, like no spandex or anything, just a really heavy fur coat. Because the thing about wombats, apparently, their defensive maneuver when they're threatened is they run into a burrow and they put their hindquarters at the entrance of the burrow and block it because it's got a really hard bone on their backside. Right. So that would be Wombat Reen's special powers.
I mean, that'd be
He
great.
can run away
It's
and
impenetrable
stick his
ass.
ass in the door. If someone threw a grenade into a room, you just get Wombat Reen to stick his ass against the door.
And then just...
dig a hole, throw the grenade in, and then sit on it. So that works.
All right, well, I think that was well answered.
So,
that seems like a good question.
Would you have Captain Australia?
Captain Australia.
Or is that Captain Boomerang?
I mean, Captain Australia wouldn't... Because Captain America represents American values, right?
Yeah.
Captain Australia would have to represent Australian values.
Slouch hat instead of a helmet with corks on it.
Yeah. Oh, and just budgie smugglers, just speedos. You know what I mean?
So what's he got instead of the shield?
But Australian budgie smugglers. Oh, and he'd have a...
Instead of a shield, he's got the lid.
Just got an esky lid.
Yeah.
That he holds up.
I like it. And he wouldn't be Captain Australia, he'd be Captain Aussie.
Captain Aussie, yeah.
Captain Oz.
Yeah.
It's too many fucking syllables, mate. Too many syllables. The Hulk? Oh, no, the Thing could be made out of Ayers Rock.
Oh, Uluru.
Uluru comes alive.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, actually, that's pretty good.
That's good.
As
that's
part
good.
of
Your mates with the dude who made Clever Man. Call him
Yeah.
up. We've got a new series to
Well,
picture.
that's what I mean. We need to get somebody Indigenous on board. I think this would be culturally inappropriate for two white guys to go, so we've got this great idea. Uluru comes to life and fights crime. But I guess if we got Ryan Griffin on board, maybe Briggs could get on board with us.
Briggs would be a great Ayers Rock.
Uluru, Charlie.
Uluru.
Oh, no, you play the character who always calls it Ayers Rock.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, mate, it's not Ayers Rock.
Snooty white banker.
Yeah.
The snooty white banker.
I don't even believe in this Ayers Rock.
Yeah, I just want to put a cafe at the bottom of it and an elevator so people can get to the top.
Oh, and the first time he comes to life, there's people still climbing it. You've had that scene with the snooty person who's it's been explained down the bottom. It's culturally, they'd prefer if you don't climb it. It's a sacred site. And there's this American guy that everyone can hate going, well, I'm going to climb it with my family no matter what. And then it comes to life and he gets splattered.
He gets eaten.
That's a really good fun bit of the film.
How's that? That's pretty good. We'll give you five characters there.
Yeah, I got to be honest.
Yeah,
that's a universe.
I look forward to that being set up for many, many years, for the next 5, 7, 12 years of layouts of movies. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We've got to plan it.
Sequels and team-ups and all that kind of shit.
And you've got to have bad guys.
They could meet at the RSL. Instead of Avengers Tower, they all they convene at the RSL, the Dubbo RSL.
Right, but a floating RSL. It's an RSL in the sky.
Yeah.
Or a hidden RSL. But you have to have villains as well. That's the thing that we haven't really
villains. Gina Reinhardt.
Gina Reinhardt.
Lex Luthor. A bald Gina Reinhardt.
Yeah, that's good too.
Oh, no, we've got Rupert Murdoch. He's kind of like Lex Luthor.
Well, there too. You have Rupert Murdoch, you have Gina Reinhardt. One's mining and all those sort of things, and she's the...
Yeah, but give her more of a kind of a famous villain, who's she aligned to, a villain.
Well, isn't...
So, because Lex Luthor is a titan of industry, which is Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, but no. I think, because he's the newspaper man, really. He's the one who controls
Lex Luthor own newspapers?
Media.
No.
Well, but he's more about build. It wasn't the first Superman thing just about a land
bald
deal.
Gina Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Gina Juthor. Well, no, that doesn't work at all.
Yeah, that was... Let's put that one up on... maybe we'll do a second
Spelled
draft.
Spelled Juthor with a G.
What about the dingo? And it's
actually...
it turns out it was the dingo that
that stole the baby.
Stole the baby. Or he can control dingoes.
The dingo, it should be a case of he's framed for a murder he never committed.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's what it should be.
Yeah, so
Dingo
he's not
man.
actually about... Yeah, so he's had to live outside the law because everyone's always blamed him for it, but it wasn't actually the dingo.
And he's like Lorenzo Lamas in Renegade. He rides a motorbike. He's a dingo, but he rides a Harley with a leather vest open on his bare chest.
And
he's got a long mullet.
And you know who plays him?
Who?
Ernie Dingo.
Yes, perfect.
Right?
This is right in itself.
Old man casting. Old Ernie Dingo.
Yeah, I like it.
I love it. All right. Thank you very much, Kaya. We appreciate you being part of the podcast. Thank your sister for her question. We appreciate it very much.
Au revoir.
Get back to science.
I will do. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Good. There you go.
Bit of comic book action.
And we got Batman in.
We got Batman in.
Yeah.
We were discussing in the break. No one's asked about Batman yet, and Will said, it's coming. It's coming.
All right. Who have we got up next here, Mike Howell? We're going back to Adelaide.
City of Churches.
Yeah.
And bizarre kidnappings.
Don Bradman.
Yep.
Fru Chox. Quentin.
Crazy Horse Strip
Quentin,
Club.
who's been ill recently. I saw that Quentin Kinahan was not well recently, so a big shout out to Quentin. Had a big year with being in Fury Road, so very exciting, and I hope his health is good. Oh, here we go. Now this feels a little bit more.
Yeah,
like
this is
we're
very
on chat
more
roulette.
Snapchatty. Nathan in Adelaide, how are you?
Nathan in Adelaide, he's got a white singlet on in one of those rooms where it looks like they shoot those, pornos that are like, this girl's coming for what she thinks is to be in a rock clip.
Yeah, TOFOP Casting presents. Is it hot in Adelaide, or you can't, or you look like that, or you're going to a cosplay as Bruce Willis in Die Hard?
Come dressed as your favourite Christmas character.
Yeah. Are you just curling the carpet with your toes?
No, I'm in bed at the moment.
Hang on. Suddenly got a little sexy.
I do have all my clothes on, so.
All right, we'll take your word for it. Don't have to show us.
Now, Nathan, question, comment, what can we do for you today?
Yeah.
All right, I've got a question. So imagine Vince McMahon from the WWE came up to you and he has asked you to become a WWE superstar. What is your character? What's your attire? And what's your finishing move? Describe yourself to me.
You go first.
Okay, firstly, I just want to, just before we get into this, I've been really going along this idea that the whole Donald Trump thing has been orchestrated by Vince McMahon.
Oh, totally. He is Vince McMahon.
But he's the perfect heel because we're setting it up for The Rock 2020.
Yeah, right.
Because The Rock has said that he's going to run. And can you imagine 4 years of Trump as the ultimate heel?
Yeah.
And then you bring in Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Has he really said he's going to run?
Yeah, well, he said he might. He said he'd consider running.
Wow.
The Rock would win.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that if The Rock ran for president, the people's champion.
Oh, my God.
The most electrifying force in sports, entertainment, and politics.
Yeah. He would.
Do you smell what The Rock is legislating? Oh, and you know who he runs with to get Trump supporters? Stone Cold Steve Austin. So you run with Stone Cold, and he gets the Midwest, the flyover.
Rust Belt.
And then you get like Dwayne Johnson gets like the West Coast.
Yeah, but you don't want to. The inauguration can't happen in the middle of a ring because we all know what happens when you have important meetings in the middle of a ring.
I mean, but I'd love that then. Can you imagine if they're halfway through signing this thing and then like some Russian music starts playing and then just Putin appears? Putin. Okay. If I were going to be a wrestler, well, you've got to kind of play to your strengths or weaknesses, I guess.
Or you can create a character from scratch.
Yeah, but I reckon my strength is cutting promos, right?
Right.
Like, I don't think I'm going to be much good in the ring with my bad hips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've got to I think my thing's got to be more like I'm I talk a big game.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. You know what my character is?
What?
I think my thing would be I just go everyone.
Yeah.
So my kind of I have kind of a fashion police style.
Yeah.
But then they all kick my ass.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
So you're a heel.
I'm constantly cocky and I always think that I'm going to win. And I cut these hilarious promos where I talk about how I'm going to dismantle people. Yeah. And then I get in the ring.
So what's your gimmick? You got a name or a persona? Or you just Will Anderson and use that?
My intro music is the music from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
What about your costume?
My costume is padded because I'm going to get hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So it's mostly it's pretty much enclosed.
It's like one of those sumo suits.
It's like I look like the kid in the bubble. Yeah. Remember the bubble boy? I fight in a giant bubble. That's my character's name, the Bubble.
Yeah.
El Bubblo.
Yeah.
I was fighting in the Mexican
He lives in a bubble
Yeah.
because he thinks he's this amazing wrestler and shit. He literally lives in his own bubble.
That's it. I'm in a bubble.
Yeah.
And it's a commentary on modern
And
day
that'd be
society, how
great.
we all
Who
live
would
in
want
bubbles.
to see a wrestling match in which just one guy was just getting knocked around the stadium in a giant inflatable bubble?
And yeah, my music starts playing and then I just roll down in my bubble. Yeah. Okay, the Bubble. That's who
all
I
right.
am.
I think what I like about the WWE is when they pick a character who you're not meant to hate him because of his wrestling, but it's the persona he's created. So I would create a character called the Troll, who would be like an internet troll.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so
that's good.
My character would be kind of like, I guess, like a disaffected millennial. And so I'd always come to the ring like just looking at my phone all the time. And when they try and cut the promos and stuff, I'm just whatever. And then I write some snarky comment on Twitter and stuff. And so I would capture that kind of WWE online market because they're like, oh, fuck, man, have you seen what the Troll's written now?
Right, and the Troll, you could take over the WWE feeds and stuff like that.
That's right. But my persona is constantly disaffected. Like, I don't care about anything.
No.
Like, it's all just lame.
Matters. Who wants to win belts?
Yeah, exactly. But I still win through my I won't be like this kind of, who would I compare him to? Like, I would be a wrestler like Bret Hart. Like, you know how Bret Hart was the excellence of execution? Like, he sort of, was very fluid and stuff, wasn't the biggest dude or whatever. That's the kind of wrestler I'd be. It'd be a lot of kind of submission holds and stuff. No power moves or anything like that.
Yeah, just a bit of like, meh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think my finishing move would have to be called something like the Burn or the Flamed, where I don't actually touch you. I just go online and harass you on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, he's about to do #lame.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a great move. Yeah, and you have like all these like 4chan guys who are your friends.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Always talking about ethics in games.
Just telling people to kill themselves constantly. Kill yourself. Seriously, kill yourself.
The Troll. All right, excellent question. I loved it, Nathan. Thank you for joining us from your bed.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
We appreciate being part of it.
Go get Hans Gruber.
Okay.
Yep, Nathan sounded like he was in bed at 1:30 in the afternoon. Got a little insight into Nathan's life.
Adelaide, where the city comes alive.
Who have we got up next?
We're going to Brooklyn, New York City. We've got Emily.
Oh my God.
So this is our first US caller. This is exciting.
All right, here we go.
Clean up, Will, clean up.
All right,
make the place look nice. We've got guests.
I was just in the US. They've got a lot going on of their own. They can't be judging us, Charlie.
Emily.
Can
you see us?
I can see Emily.
She can't
She's
hear
got an
us.
I Love
Hi.
Gringo Brothers t-shirt on.
Can you hear us? No.
Yeah, it's a little distorted, but
Okay. All right, we'll slow down. Is that too slow?
I feel like there's just a little delay, Charlie.
it's frozen.
Okay. So it's a long delay.
You know what? Here's what we're going to do, just because there is a bit of a delay, Emily, and I hope you're hearing us and seeing us properly. But I'm going to toss it over to you, and you can say, ask, or whatever you would like to do. We'll give Emily a bit of time to do that, and then we can respond, and that way, hopefully, we won't talk over the top of each other.
Well coordinated.
Okay, I'm going to go for sincerity, I guess, which I apologize for in advance. I've been listening to the show, 5 or 6 years now. I got into it through Walking the Room, and it sort of opened up this whole other community, both in terms of listening to other podcasts, like I Love Green Guide-Guiders or like Justin Hamilton stuff or Little Dum Dum Club, but also just meeting other fans and becoming good friends with people like in New Zealand and in Australia and in all other sorts of places. Do you guys get a sense of how important the podcast is to other people? Do you feel that in your, because it's Batman and time travel and, sex with Kathy Bates, but it's also like this very important thing.
The thing I will say firstly is thank you. And it's, sometimes we do. Never when we're doing it, I would say. So obviously we just get together and, talk nonsense and, try to have fun with it. And it doesn't really have any higher aspirations or aims than that. But obviously over the years of traveling around and meeting people, and so many times on this recent tour I just did of the US, going out to shows and meeting people who, tell me similar stories of, discovering it through Walking the Room or discovering it through The Dollop or Comedy Film Nerds. That sense that there is a comedy community and a podcasting community where, in some areas, if you like one thing, it means you have to hate the other thing. Whereas podcasting has been a great world for going, well, if you like this, you might also like this. And it doesn't mean you have to stop liking the other thing. But to answer the kind of the idea of the importance of it, I think there's been a couple of times when we stopped doing it the first time, that I think that was the first time we realized how much people, up until that point, we kind of lived in a bit of a vacuum with it. But I remember when we first had to stop and the way people reacted, that was the first time I kind of realized that the podcast was important to people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always surprised. Like when we started doing the live shows, like this year, we did our biggest ever live show in Melbourne, which was almost like 1,000 seats. And it's just when you have that many people in front of you, it's like there's no other way around it but to go, oh my God, like we must be doing something right, or the people obviously like what we're doing. But I only have to relate it to podcasts that I love. Like there's podcasts I listen to that no one I know listens to, and they're really obscure and they're really niche. And I know what that means to me. Like I feel connected to those people. Like I buy their merchandise, I buy their bonus episodes. Like I know their personalities really well. They feel like friends. Like I often will tell stories to people. Oh, a friend of mine, this happened to them. And I won't be talking about like someone I see day to day. I'm talking about my friend who I listen to on the podcast.
Well, it's interesting when you say that because the day we were just talking off air about the fact that you were at the Actor Awards and Grew and my TV show won an award, but I was in America. But the day I found out that we won the award, something else happened to me that day that I was more excited about than the award, and it's totally in this area, which is that Seth Romatelli from Oh Yeah Dude, which is my favorite podcast, sent me a Christmas card, and it came in the mail, and I was like, I can explain to no one that this is the most exciting thing that happened to me today, but it was because I love that podcast so much, and I love them, and I like just that Seth still sends fucking Christmas cards. Like it just absolutely delighted me. So,
and I'd also add like the other thing that I love, is what the show has kind of spawned. So, if you go onto the Facebook page at any time or on Twitter or whatever, and you see like the artwork of James Fosdyke, or, what Reed Parker's been doing with the Photoshop, or Sean Maluga with the photographs he's taken, or anyone who creates something based off what we've done, like I'm all for that. Like that kind of that is what I think makes me happiest, is seeing, getting an email from James Fosdyke where he's drawn a cartoon panel of something that you and I have not even thought of since we've spoken of it. So you get to like enjoy it again in a completely different context. So that's the one thing I really love about it.
Yeah, I love the idea that it inspires other people to do things. Like, because we were inspired by other people's projects to do this thing. And, we love that about Smodcast, like, was the idea that, like, when you went and saw Kevin Smith, like, there'd be all these things that, like, fans of the show had made using his work or inspired by his work. So I'm with you. Whenever somebody, like, gets on the Facebook page and has made something or put something together, or those sort of things are probably when it's the most exciting for me as well.
Yeah.
And now
back to Emily,
back to you.
Experience a TOFOP malfunction firsthand is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a TOFOP without something going wrong, but it's been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken us to have to do a call to New York City for it to go terribly. So yeah. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, although we do the show mostly in 2 different countries, like for half the year.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
But there's only 2 of us. This is hard. We're conference calling. Is there anything else you wanted to ask us?
No, it was just great to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for doing this.
Our pleasure. There'll be more, I'm sure.
Thank you, Emily. We really appreciate you dialing in today.
All right.
Bye.
That'll Michael will clean all that up. But he'll have to leave some of it in to understand what we were fucking talking about.
I know, Wil and Charlie are fucking talking for a long time.
Right. We were trying to do that one in a not back and forth because there was a massive delay on the line in case Michael's cleaned it up so well that people at home are like, why didn't they let Emily talk? We did. It just was often...
It's like a 7-second delay.
Yeah. I think it was more than that. It was like, it felt like a real like... Are you there?
Is the screen frozen?
And you would have to try to hold your nerve not to talk, to say, are you there? Because then if you did that...
She would stop when she heard your voice, yeah. I know. Are we back in Adelaide again? Jeez, Adelaide's that's our biggest demographic.
I love this because every time people talk about podcasts, when they do tours, it's become a bit of a running joke that the people of Adelaide never come out to the shows. but obviously if you get people to dial in, this is what people want to do. They dial in from Adelaide.
Lisa, I believe. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
Hello, Lisa.
That's good. Now I can see your whole face. Will, I can only see half your face.
Yeah. I'm going to lean back in a second because we can't quite get in the shot. But you're joining us from Adelaide today. Do you have a comment, a question? Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, by the way, what do you think of the pod cave? Is it what you expected?
There's probably more wood than I thought there would be.
What do you think? Human skin or something?
I just thought it'd be more Bulldogs jerseys. Actually, I thought the whole wall would just be like a Bulldogs flag and jersey.
That's in the next room.
Yeah, there's a whole secret room in there.
That's Will's non-panic room.
That's my private room where I'm alone with my merchandise, Lisa.
Black light.
Did you have a question or a comment you wanted?
I did. Well, I thought of trying to come up with a really TOFOP question, but I realised I didn't have any more questions about how much Will hated Batman versus Superman.
Topic hasn't come up already.
More questions about that. So I wanted to ask, what is your most favourite thing and what is your least favourite thing about recording the podcast with each other?
Oh, okay. Well, least favourite is probably just the time it takes, to be honest. Like, it's been such a great joy to do this, but obviously as we both are busy in our lives, and the thing about podcasts is you pick up a new one but the old one doesn't go away. So particularly this year, just in the ones we do together with the football podcast and this podcast with our schedules. Yeah. The toughest thing is just...
I'd say that would be it too. Like, the coordinating of it. Because
coordinating
often
the time.
We're in two different countries. And so someone's getting up in the morning or someone's staying up at night. So there's always that. I mean, it goes remarkably smoothly. And that's a lot to Mike Howell, who has to take the files and then cut them together. And he sort of lines it all up. So, you miss all the kind of... long pauses and things like that.
But they are certainly different styled podcasts as well, because when we're in the same room, we can just kind of bounce off each other. But when you're in different countries and with the delay and all those sort of things.
Hand signals.
Yeah.
We do a lot of hand signals.
They're certainly different style podcasts. And so I think that's the hardest thing is trying to get that sort of coordinating it and get that same rapport when we're not in the same place doing it. But Mike Howell has obviously been amazing in allowing us to get out podcasts that I've been really happy with, when we've been in two completely different crazy places.
It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is that we for a while were holdouts on the idea of doing Skype. Like we just didn't feel it would get that energy, but Mike Howell kind of talked us into it and then we tried it and it's like, it's not the same, but it's not bad. Like we've had some really enjoyable episodes and sometimes that separation, what you get is a different style of episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the tough part is working around everyone because, it's not just me and Will, there's Mike Howell as well, who makes himself available all the time. But, there's just some things don't line up. But when this show becomes a multi-million-dollar digital platform,
right,
we'll have plenty of time to be in the same room together. I'd say that's kind of Elizabeth, my favorite thing too, is I love long form conversation. I love, Will and I can have an ability to sit down and talk at length about lots of different topics. And if the microphones are on or not, I would still enjoy that. That's what I kind of enjoy most is I like people who can hold a conversation. I like long form conversation. And then when you guys give us feedback on stuff, that sparks a new conversation. And I guess that's what I enjoy the most of it. It's the most, of all the things I've done professionally and creatively, this is the most effortless. I felt like when podcasting was invented, it was a medium that I had natural ability at because I can fucking talk and it requires a very minimal technical capabilities.
Well, the whole thing is one giant conversation, really. More than anything, it's like you've just got a big conversation, not only between the two of us, but a conversation that we've been having with each other. Somebody said to me, they gave me a suggestion because on the last episode, we were talking about how would you describe the podcast. And somebody said to me, they said, it's like listening in on a weekly phone catch up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it does have that. So, I mean, I think the best thing, obviously at a very base level, the best thing about the podcast for me has been that we got to work together. We were friends and we're both creative people. And when two creative people are friends, often obviously Justin, he's a stand-up. So Justin and I can work together, go out on the road together, do shows together. But we, your world and my world were next to each other, but they weren't quite there. I mean, we even, we've talked about this, I think, but when I was doing radio, we even considered the idea of maybe we could like do a radio show together, but that wasn't really what you wanted to do or your world.
No.
Whereas this is something that we could do together. So that's certainly been the best bit of it. I mean, the idea that we're still doing it all this time later and we have this, we have had an opportunity to talk to each other, but also a group of people. And those people have become part of the conversation and they have in a lot of ways guided the conversation. When we have gone into areas where people have had a problem with what we've talked about, like the way that people have come to us and said, hey, I like the show, but when you talked about this, or the way you talked about this, or here's my insight on that thing that you were talking about.
Is that Dolph Lundgren you're talking about?
Sorry?
When Dolph Lundgren came to you and said, hey man, like just
could
lay
you
off.
Could you just stop
It's
talking
getting
about me
creepy.
too much? We live in the same building, mate. It's really weird. But no, I mean, it has been part of a broader conversation as well. And last but not least, I would say the thing I like about it is be able to create something that throws away all the things you learn in radio. Like to do something that is essentially broadcasting, but is so completely different to all the things you're meant to do, and find that there were still people out there. Because I've been having this argument with people for years in those environments of going, no, you can just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Be interesting and people will listen. Like for this podcast to, have had an audience that have obviously said, yes, that is how we like those conversations, has been very rewarding. I think.
And the other thing too, I'd say is that it's been the growth of the show has been organic. Like we sort of put it out without any kind of real promotion or anything. I mean, obviously with your name, there's always going to be like a level of interest and stuff, but we just allowed it to kind of find its feet, and we sort of really, I think, held off on kind of pushing it too fast, too quick. Like we had big ideas and stuff and we sort of tried some things, but what I like about it is that anyone who likes the show, there's a depth to that, why they like it. There's a history to it, and they either get the humor straight away or they get the style of the show or they've listened the whole way through. And I just think that it makes for much more satisfying when people come up and talk about the show. Like I'm happy to go into, they want to talk about an episode where we talk about something. I'm happy to go back into it because it's an interesting conversation, like we bring it up because it interests us.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Is that a good answer?
Lisa. Well worth it. Thanks, mate. Well done. Thank you. All right. We must be getting towards the end. How many have we got to go?
Mike Howell,
he can give us a little count just so that we know.
3 more. All right,
Okay.
That's good. Do you need another break? Or
I
you're
might
okay?
just need a little quick.
Okay, can we just pause for a couple of minutes, Michael?
It'll only be a couple of minutes.
Okay, so we've got 3 more to go.
Okay, three final calls. We should. We've done a fair while. We've done an hour and not an hour and 50 because I was recording before we started, but we've done a fair while.
That's good.
Yep,
We haven't done a long one in a while. Okay,
Big
so
one.
we've got Nicole from Canberra, our nation's capital.
Yeah. And
Beautiful.
Ramona's just come in and got my bottle of water, and she's going to eat that under the table. So hopefully that won't make too
Okay,
much noise.
she's incoming. Nicole.
Here we go. Do we have Nicole?
Hello, Nicole.
Oh, hey, Will. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, how are you?
We can hear Nicole. We can't see Nicole.
We can't see you just yet, so maybe turn your camera on.
No, I think I figured it out.
Okay, here you come.
Oh,
Hey!
hello, Nicole.
It's good to see the pod cave.
Where do we find you today, Nicole? Do we find you at home, at work?
At home in Canberra.
Okay, nice one. And what's the temperature like in Canberra today? Is it hot in Canberra today?
Yeah,
She looks over her
hot.
shoulder.
Did you literally look over your shoulder to gauge the temperature? Do you have some heat detection gland in your cheek that we don't know about?
No, I was quite literally looking outside.
Okay.
Now, can I ask you, Nicole, did you have a question or a comment or something for us today?
Oh, well, besides thanking you for doing the podcast, I wanted to talk about Quantum Cop, actually.
Oh,
okay,
interesting.
nice.
Yeah, so one of them was if he has a device to talk to, like, the people who are, helping him, is it like the
In the
TARDIS
control room?
changes?
Oh,
As in, sorry.
do you mean like the device?
Communicating back to, like, HQ,
No.
wherever time
HQ, I find that I feel that HQ would be they've stabilized it, so it is not subject to temporal changes. So although he was sent back from whatever time period Quantum Cop was set in the 80s,
Sure.
they're in a cage which diverts electrical energy, which makes them immune from temporal changes. So even though he's changing history,
Right.
they stay consistent. It's the same 3 people or 2 people in the control room giving him instructions.
Yeah, but what is the actual device he's communicating
Is
on?
it a phone? Is it something else?
Yeah. What is it? Like,
It's-
because he's got to have it with him in all time periods.
Okay. It's
So
a
it's got to be
pack
something.
pack of cigarettes.
What about before cigarettes?
I mean,
Well, cigarettes been around since like the 1500s,
well,
right?
I think that could be a running joke. So in different time periods,
Yeah.
people's acceptance of somebody having cigarettes
'Cause
could
the-
obviously be, and it could be a running plot. Sometimes somebody could steal his cigarettes or take his cigarettes. You could leave them on the table, and suddenly
Yeah.
he doesn't have his communicator.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
that's
it's
good.
a
I like it.
TARDIS-like joke. So
Yeah.
it's a police box. It's got stuck in that form. So I'd say it's a pack of cigarettes, and let's say the late 1950s era. It's like a classy pack.
Right.
And I imagine he opens the pack and pulls out a cigarette, which is like the time
Oh, yeah,
radar.
that's good, yeah.
And
Puts
that's
up
how he
the-
makes his call.
I love that it's this advanced technology, but it still needs a
radar.
radar. It still needs a little
Antenna.
Just
Did you have another question about?
Yeah.
Another Quantum Cop
That
question,
was a
or is it a
pretty
Would
good
there
question?
ever be an episode where it's like they think they're like, oh, maybe we should, stop, I don't know, someone from drowning, and went, nah, maybe the world would be a bit shit if we actually stopped that from happening.
You know what? Actually, okay.
Isn't that the lyrics of a Phil Collins song?
If it is, I did mean to.
You know what? I actually think that's not a bad idea. What if we put that extra sort of bit of morality into it, where occasionally they go back and they decide the person's terrible and they just let them die or whatever?
Yeah.
That's not bad, actually.
Or if they do, yeah.
Kind of a moral arbitrator, sort of. Like,
So they're
you're meant to be saving
They're
them. but fuck
constantly
'em.
monitoring the possible temporal outcomes from their
Right.
control room. So it's if they live, this happens. If they die, this happens. But they would have to be weighing up. Like maybe you do kill Hitler, but then Super Hitler rises in his place. So he's getting ready to shoot Hitler 1.
Right.
But then they're like, whoa, we're looking at the schematics. Is that the right word?
Sure.
And it's showing us that this new time period, there'd be Super Hitler.
Right.
She's called Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's more like real life rather
Yeah.
than fantasy fiction, but I appreciate it. Well, we appreciate you giving us both of those questions, Nicole. Obviously, we've got a few more things about Quantum Cop to flesh out, but I feel like it's been you've given us some good notes.
Yeah, pilot season's coming up in the States.
Yeah.
It's ready to roll out by February.
I feel like you've asked some questions that sort of like that the studio might ask
Yeah,
us.
that's right.
Like, well, what's his device, mate?
Yeah.
You haven't even said in this script what his device is.
Can we make her a woman?
Yeah.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's looking for a project. I think this would be perfect.
When you say cigarettes, we can get a vaping deal. Can you vape? Thank you very much, Nicole. Thanks for joining us
Bye.
from Canberra,
Canberra.
where the temperature may be anything.
According to her cheek.
Oh, it's at least above 25 degrees.
Okay, there we go.
Thanks.
Cheers, Nicole. See ya.
All right, see ya.
All right. Two more?
Two more to go.
Two more to go. We're almost done. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to this.
Downloading it.
Well, yes.
Don't tune into a podcast.
Do you
but-
not tune in? Yeah, I guess you don't.
No, download.
What do
'Cause
you
it's
do?
not on
You
a band.
download then tune in.
Yeah, you down. Well, if you're talking metaphorically tuning in, like as in you tune
'cause
your
have to
attention
tune.
in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
All right, we're going out to Bris Vegas. Sean
from Brisbane.
Sean and Lena should meet up. She's going to be in Brisbane soon. She said.
Well, I mean, but
Sean can
Lena
show her
might not
around.
want to meet a stranger.
Well, Sean might not want to meet her.
Yeah, but you were suggesting. That's a good point. Actually, no, you're right. I just think Sean. Oh,
Hello, Sean.
Here's Sean.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Your lips aren't moving, but we can hear you, so it's all right.
That's good. I heard
Oh,
the
okay,
emergencies.
You're frozen you're frozen, but it's a very flattering pose. You look very austere, like a CEO of a startup company. T-shirt, cool glasses, like minimalist office.
I mean, it is a TOFOP t-shirt, so
is that a TOFOP? Oh, it is. It's a teabagger one.
How you guys going?
Oh, good. How are you?
Okay, so we've got a little bit of a delay here on Sean because but we'll just we'll pass it over to you, Sean, so that you can say what you want to say, and then we'll give it a pause so we try not to talk over the top of you. So if you have a thought, comment, question, now is the time.
Awesome. Yeah, so I've got a couple of questions, but firstly a thought. Look, it's great to be in the podcast with you guys, and I've got the stock ready in case we have any sound issues. Mike Howell, he's done an awesome job in the green room. He's kept us all entertained, which is fantastic.
What the fuck? Oh, wait a minute.
Nice.
Pause. How has Mike Howell been keeping you
He's
entertained?
entertaining. He's the
What's going
producer.
on?
He's
Like
going-
magic tricks?
Oh yeah, you wait for the next couple of guests. They'll I think they're bringing home the bacon.
Well, I will say this: we can now see you talking.
Yeah,
which is,
that's better.
Delightful. You've
You
come
live-
to life. It felt like a scene from Westworld for a minute, where I'm like, "Oh my god, it's true. Sean's been a host this whole time."
Ben Arnold.
Nice. You can stay.
Yeah.
Don't cut him off.
You've passed the test.
No worries. But yeah, I just want to say thanks for all the content you put out there. It's fantastic, and I've been able to introduce my family to also all of these obscure movie references, TV show, even great movies to watch. Like one comes to mind, Charlie. It Follows. I would have never found that without you talking about it. And man, like you're talking about the way that it was filmed. It was fantastic. And other
it's a good movie, that one.
comedians. Yeah, other comedians and podcasts too that I just hadn't heard of. And lucky enough, last comedy festival went down to Melbourne to see a new family member, and it was great. Able to shoehorn in 11 shows and all friends of the show, so it was great.
Sean, can I ask you this? What other podcasts do you enjoy?
So love Dollop, Little Dum Dum Club. Justin Hamilton's been fantastic. Like when he's been a guest with you, Will, I just really get him. I'm an overthinker as well, so it's been fantastic to listen to what he goes on with. So yeah, he was great. And so I try and see him as much as I can.
Did you have a question for us?
Yeah, I've got a question for each of you, if I can. So
Yep.
So firstly, you, Charlie, if I could. So on a recent episode, you spoke about special skills that you may have as a kid, and one in particular around hand farts. Now, I recall in the short film The Wake, which you produced with Gemma, that Angus Sampson used the hand fart as a great plot element. So, and it had your writing all over it. Will we be seeing Brandy or any other special skills in future writing?
I didn't even think of that. That's funny. The reason I brought the hand farting in is because it was an exact question of like, what special skills do I have? Because I wanted to create a moment in which this guy taught this dude, like, if he was cool, it'd be like how to open a beer bottle with his, wrist but I can't do any of that cool shit. The only thing I've ever been able to do to entertain a kid is make a fart noise with my hands. So I didn't even actually make that connection, but yeah. I guess Brandy would be awesome to put in a film, but I have the thing I'm writing at the moment, the protagonist is a 19-year-old girl, and so Gemma's having more of an input into the kind of manner, the reveries, so to speak.
I think this is actually, you'd been too short-sighted with Brandy. I think in this modern day time where everything is a big blockbuster.
Yeah, right.
I think it's like Brandy,
movie.
the movie.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's kind
and
of
make
like
it like the Hunger Games.
Yeah, it's the Hunger Games.
But you get hunted with a tennis ball.
Right, well, yeah, or some like deadly version of a tennis ball, and then it'd be like, this time, no one's barley.
So, Sean, can I ask you, did you play Brandy when you were at school?
I did, yeah.
Okay, all right. So the rules as I understood them were, if you were one of the kids being hunted and someone threw the ball at you, if you caught the ball, you got to throw it back and you were immune. Or if you fisted it, like punched it AFL style out of the air, you're also kind of immune. But if it hit you in any other way, if you didn't deflect it with your fist or you didn't catch it, you're gone. Was that the same rules you had?
Yeah, it was. We had an additional rule, but it might have been just north of the border. We're a bit slow up here kind of rule, which was we could use a jumper to deflect away the ball as well.
Oh, that's cool. That's the high level of difficulty with a school jumper. So do you coil it up like a towel, or do you keep it like loose for more coverage?
Oh, it's more just panic shaking.
Interesting. I like it.
What were the rules you played Brandy by?
I mean, I think we played them by pretty simple rules, which was just like,
you got hit or you didn't.
Yeah, chuck a ball at someone.
Yeah, but if you caught it,
Yeah, if you caught it, but I think that's all it was. I
Okay,
can't
no
remember
deflecting.
punching it away.
No,
and I certainly don't.
The
think there was any jumper
the
play.
punching got so popular, like that. Me and a group of the guys, like we got really good at punching. So we would wear one single glove.
Like Michael
that was
Jackson.
like our punching hand. Yeah, but that was like our brandy glove.
Right.
That's how serious
Like
we
an
took it.
AFL
When you
fullback.
think about brandy
Like
as a
an
game,
NFL punter.
do you have kids, Sean?
I do, yeah, late teens.
And did they play brandy? Because I can't imagine this day and age that allow kids to run into a yard and fucking hurl a ball at each other. Does that still happen in schools?
No, I can't recall them playing that, no.
No, because you couldn't, right? OH&S. Some kid gets hit in the
dodgeball
face.
is still a thing in America.
That's
though,
a big
right?
soft ball, though. Like a tennis ball can do some damage. Like, if you're close enough, off the top of their head would hurt. Some kid gets hit in the eye with a tennis ball.
I mean, come on.
God, you know what? I
Harden
think
up,
I want to know. I think we need to do more investigative journalism on this. I'd like to know if brandy is still a thing.
Well, I think what you should do is linger around some primary
Yeah.
schools and observe the children in what they're doing.
What games do you like to play, children?
There's this guy who I think is from Home and Away.
I think the
hanging out
headmaster
at
from Home and
school
Away.
asking us what games we like to play.
What do you do for fun, children?
All right, Sean. What was my question?
Yeah, what was Will's question?
Yeah, it's a quick two-parter. It's just a one or two word answer, I guess. First one is, I understand you're a bit of a Radiohead fan. It must have been awesome to see them at Primavera Sound. And when you listen to their latest album, Moonshaped Pool, do you listen in track listing order or alphabetical order?
Oh, okay. Here's what I will say is that I've done both. And because I'm one of those people, much like my Westworld podcast with Radiohead, if somebody tells me that you've got to play 2 albums in order to understand it or whatever, I will do that. But traditionally, when it comes to albums, I'm either one or two things. I'm either a put it on and listen from start to finish, or I am a random guy after a while.
Yeah.
I like to think that, like, I know an album's made to be listened to in a certain order, but after a while, it's almost like I want to listen to it out of that order to understand the original order.
That idea of the concept album, like, Sgt. Pepper's, that was meant to be a concept album. And then 4 songs into it, the Beatles were like, oh, this is fucking hard. Let's just write pop songs.
Yeah.
And so you listen to that album, it's like they start off some imaginary band and then they forget about it and then they wrap it up at the end. So I kind of feel like, well, unless it's like a prog rock concept album, you pretty much just put it on shuffle.
This is you've pretty much described right then pretty much every comedian's comedy festival show. Like, it starts out with like, here's the theme, and then in the middle it's just their best 25 minutes of jokes, and then at the end they just try to wrap it all together as if that all made sense.
Yeah. And that's why the world is upside down. Charlie Clausen, the world is upside down.
Do you have a personal preference yourself, Sean?
I'm typically a random one, but my mind was blown with that latest Radiohead album when they actually released it in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Which I thought, that's interesting.
Yeah, they think about it a lot.
They're artists.
I feel like at some stage that like it'll be revealed that there was all this stuff going on all these Radiohead albums that nobody knew anything about.
It's like the Illuminati or something.
Right.
They've been communicating.
I mean, if Tom York was going to start a religion, I'd get involved. Yeah. You have to turn your head into a radio. All right,
let's do it.
I'm in. Tune in. Download. Sean, thank you so much for knowing more about this podcast than we do.
One last thing. Why is there no furniture in the room you're in?
Oh, yeah.
Are you a serial killer?
I'm at the office, and so I just snuck into a little meeting room so that I could sit here and chat to you guys.
Okay.
Essentially, Sean, this has been a meeting room tour of Australia for us.
Yeah.
We've seen inside a lot of meeting rooms of a whole bunch of businesses around the country.
Yeah, Australia is not working today. It's almost Christmas, and they've thought, fuck it, I can waste a few hours.
I mean, it's Christmas week. I mean, the fact that you're still actually at work is to be admired.
Yeah.
Nice one. Well, thanks again, guys. And look, after you release the Survivor podcast, Will, I'm looking forward to the Westworld one.
Thank you very much, mate. And thank you for being involved in this. We really appreciate it.
Bye. All right. Thanks, Chad.
All right.
We've got one more.
Have we got one more?
Or is that one more? Last caller.
Oh, from Perth.
Going
We're
back to sunny
across the
Perth.
country. Did we miss out anywhere? We went to Tasmania, Adelaide,
We didn't
Canberra,
go to anywhere in Europe or
Brisbane.
the UK. No other continents besides the US.
I mean, the timing might be bad for
it's
Europe.
true. I think it's
right?
like 1 a.m. or something in London right now.
I mean, bad timing for Europe. But, but
all over it.
around
We've
Australia.
travelled. We're like the Leyland brothers.
Yeah.
Travelled around the countryside. Ask the Leyland, ask the Leyland. What's the next line? trying to commit suicide. The business has been losing a lot of money. Seriously, we're in financial trouble.
Do you know how to get some taxes?
James.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello, James.
Fellas.
Is your avatar a face swap?
Yes, it is. Me and my
Oh,
son.
thank God. Oh, for a minute there, I'm like, James is a giant baby.
I got to be honest with you, James. The picture has come out, and it's a little terrifying because, of course, we didn't know that was coming, and it took me a little second.
You know what?
For you to say, I mean,
as I said
way,
that sentence, I was like, I know.
Say.
What if I actually
what
look
if
like
it
that?
Isn't a face swap?
My son is a 40-year-old man.
You've just done the thing of going. So when's the baby due? To a person who isn't pregnant, essentially.
No, there's something very childlike about that face. It looks a bit like in Beyond Thunderdome when Master Blaster gets his helmet knocked off.
Yeah. One man enter, one baby leave.
We can't see you yet. Is your camera on?
Do you have video camera?
Yeah, just maybe have a look at it. All right, maybe it'll come through. You can ask it. We can hear you clearly though.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
All
right.
That.
No, yeah, no, you don't look like that baby.
No, that's
definitely not.
Imagine if it was more terrifying.
All right, James, you can take the mask, that horrible mask off now.
Go back to the baby. Now you look at where are you today? Because
you look like
beautiful.
No, it looks like you're standing in front of a green screen and they've comped in some beautiful landscape behind you. It looks like you're at Westworld at the station where the people arrive.
No, I've got the blinds down, so it's the garden's behind the office. So
yeah, all right. You're at work as well. Fucking hell,
everybody's
man.
at work, but it's Christmas. It's the week to do it.
Yeah, it's
because apparently nobody cares about their work during Christmas week.
Oh, it's super quiet. That's for sure. Yeah, everyone's checked out. I think half the office is at the pub. So
that's a very cool shirt you're wearing, and that's normal office attire for you.
No, it's Friday. Oh look, Friday cash.
Right.
So that's okay.
Friday cash. Yeah, cool.
There's a few shorts in the office today, and that's a bit racy. I work for a bank. I work for a bank, so that's
I busted breaking the rules.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see a banker in shorts.
No. Did you have a question or a comment?
Oh look, I was pleasantly surprised that this wasn't a Nigerian scam.
Don't talk too soon, mate. Who knows?
Yeah, mate. You'll be. The longer we keep you on air, we're just draining your bank account right now.
This is our new funding model.
Yeah, you call us. It's costing you $15 a second.
Okay, it all comes together. Yeah.
Your office is going to get one of those, if somebody's in the old days, they'd make phone sex calls from the office.
Yeah, just leave the phone off the hook.
Into HR. It's like, hang on, it says here you did a Skype call with a podcast, and the bank was charged $1 million a second. This is bizarre.
Look, I guess my question would be, I listen to you guys in all sort of different places and times and levels of inebriation. So, look, I'm just getting a feel on how you guys actually record and your states of well-being. How often are you guys 2 or 3 deep on the frothies, or is it generally you're catching up at different times of the day? So Charlie will be just getting up in the morning, and Will, you've been at the club hitting the wines. So you're
I think it just depends. I think when
it'd be great to go back and really chart, because when we're in the same room, traditionally we drink. Although this morning we started.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I think when we started, it was a piss up.
Yeah,
like when we started, it was like a 6-pack. Like it would probably go through maybe 2 6-packs. And then I think as it's gone on, like we've been drinking water all day today, and I'd say most time when I think about it this year, there's occasional special occasion where we might drink. That's normally if we're going to hang out afterwards or something as well.
Or if it's at night, might have a beer while we're doing it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've sometimes, the funny one is if it's early morning for you, but if it's like late night and I'm in my apartment at home, I will often have a few drinks or whatever, and
Yeah.
like it's 11 o'clock in the morning and you're about to go for like a swim or a jog or something, and I'm just getting, so it's like somebody getting into an Uber late at night, like where one of the guys is really drunk and enthusiastic and the other one wants to just get to the just wants to get to the end and get 5 stars.
I think that the last time we had Gareth and Dave on the show, like on TOFOP, is when they were doing their Dollop tour, and we got fucking hammered, man. Like I had so much fun. Like I was having so much fun, but because I think I was drinking whiskey by the end of it too.
There's points in that podcast where
it's just like we're rambling and stuff. Like it's just but it was great fun. But I think as I've gotten older, my ability to do that and still maintain coherent conversation has gotten less.
And the live shows.
The live shows, yeah.
That's a different beast. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not quite yet there. Like I still am too nervous about the live shows that I will have a few drinks on stage, but I feel like someone needs to be like, it's, someone needs to be able to grab the wheel if we start going on stage.
Me.
Yeah. So,
it's definitely not going to be me.
So it's like I'm the designated driver at the live show. It's like I can have a couple of drinks. Yeah.
Did you guys come with a designated podcaster?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
If we start going into dangerous territory, I'll take the microphone. That's what Deeksy should really be for us.
It could end up in dum-dum territory. So, that's that's really drunk.
Well, that shows, you've got to have nothing on the next day. That's all I would say. Well, mate, thank you so much for joining us from your place of work.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
Enjoy your Friday afternoon knockoff drinks. It looks like you're going to get into it soon. What time is it now? It's early for you, right? It's only 12.
Look, it's 12 o'clock somewhere. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Have one for us.
Thank you so much, mate. Cheers.
Bye. And that was our last caller.
There we go.
That went pretty well.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, it was really good. So this is TOFOP 150. Also, it's very close to Christmas. So before we... do you have anything to plug first?
Oh, yeah. My tour, my tour, Critically Will, is on sale pretty much everywhere now. Adelaide, Brisbane, Hobart, Melbourne... Perth is now on sale as well and selling really quickly. I'm only doing 2 shows, so if you want to come in Perth, I would get in really quick for that. Sydney will be on sale in the new year, and I will be in Bermuda in early January if there's anyone listening who lives in Bermuda.
I have nothing to promote, but Will and I were discussing before the show. As it's Christmas time, we wanted to give something back to you guys.
In the spirit of giving.
In the spirit of giving. So what we've decided is we're going to open up the Patreon levels. So all the content that we have on there that's under sort of different tiers, we're going to open up and allow everyone who joins up to see the comics by Fosdyke.
We think that James's comic is just so good.
Yeah.
That we just want everybody who joins up on the Patreon to be able to experience it. So even if you join up at like $1 a month,
you'll be able to get his.
You'll be able to get that, and you'll also be able to get a link.
Sean Maluga's behind the scenes photographs,
which are brilliant.
What else have we got up there? We've got other stuff up there, but the one thing you're not going to get is the books,
right?
Like the hard copy books. We need to hang on to those because they actually cost money.
What we're going to try to do is give all that stuff, that regular stuff, to everybody, and then next year we're going to try to find some cool
new content
and special kind of things because we also understand that there are people out there who can't afford to do $20 a month, but if we had something up there for a few months or whatever that they wanted to, they're happy to kind of raise their level up for a few months and then take it back and stuff. So we're going to try to do more of that stuff where you get something decent at the higher levels, but everyone who joins up from $1 upwards gets,
access to everything.
Yeah, all those sort of really cool things.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great stuff. There's the ebook. There's all these different things. And the good thing is you can actually go through the Patreon site and you can just discover it for yourself because we've been posting stuff all year. So that's our thank you to you. Thank you for listening to us for 150 episodes. It's taken a long fucking time when you compare us to other podcasts.
I'm not sure there would be a podcast that's taken this long
to get to 150.
Like, when was our first one?
2012. No, 2010.
What's the date? I wonder what the date is of the release on iTunes of the first episode.
I think it's April. Michael, you might be able to have
if he could Google it and tell us what the...
I'm going to guess. I'm going to punt and say April 2010.
April 2010. Do you want to guess?
Oh, no, May. I'm going to say May 2010.
And what is it now? It's like December 2016. And we've managed 150. Like, even
You've done...
the last 2 years...
How many fucking FOPOPs have you managed in that time?
200 and something.
On your
Many
own.
more.
I'm
Many more.
I'm the dead weight.
Heaps more.
July 2nd, 2010.
Okay.
Out
so-
by a couple of months. But yeah, that's a shocking average.
Right.
But we got to 150. We're that fucking dour batsman who
Right.
takes a long time to get there.
Yeah, we've
But
been
you can't
holding
get
up
us
an end,
out.
but we got there.
We got there.
And now we're 150.
Yeah. So what do we do? So we raised the bat at 50. We kissed the crest at 100. What do we do?
Did we discuss this last week and not come up with what it was?
Well, we should have thought of
We
something
take
by now.
audience calls.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we just forget about the batsman metaphor. Oh, yeah, just before we go, we just need to give a special shout out.
So Kevin Myers, thank you for popping in and keeping the virtual green room entertained. We didn't even know that we were having a virtual green room.
No, this sort of dawned on us as we were doing this show.
Halfway through, as people started saying that they were in the virtual green room and talking to each other.
Our virtual green room had entertainment.
I mean, I feel like
probably arguably better than the main show.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could have gone to the virtual green room while you were talking occasionally. I could have just popped in to the virtual green room.
What rider would you have in the virtual green room?
I mean, just small things, tiny things. I like tiny virtual things, just tiny on sticks.
Yeah.
And the thing I would say is, I think this went well enough that we will try to do another one of these at some stage.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll work that out.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of people who didn't get through this time. So if you've enjoyed it, let us know on the Facebook page once the episode comes out. Share it around, and that's what you guys could do for us. If you think somebody would enjoy it, then pass it around or rate it and review it. That'd be really cool. So,
Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Wil Anderson.